Aegis and NVIDIA are joining hands today. How do we bring skills to India for data science? And more importantly, how people understand how to apply deep learning, which is a critical foundation, how India is going to transform itself, and it's really important.
Scientists say we're at the dawn of an analytics revolution.
There's a ton of hidden connections that
analytics is the next state of existence of technology. All the recorded information we generate in 2 days today.
One of those
what it means is there's a lot of hidden value in a lot of potential value. Right now we see that for the primary object.
putting mathematics into the data of the company and make solving real life problems. It was really interesting course. There was so many to learn, so many things to learn, and all the subjects and everything. Especially the faculty members, each one of them were really good. The placements and everything of the whole curriculum.
Scouting for some data science program, and then I got to know there was very few players who were actually giving this PGP full-time program, and Aegis was one of those.
So that's one thing that Aegis has taught me, how to work with data. So I had an intuitive idea, but the way they have encouraged us and guided us, I think it's a great place.
Good afternoon, everybody. So those who are online and those who are here on campus, very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Bhupesh Daharia, and I am a CEO of Aegis School of Data Science, Business, Telecommunication and Cyber Security. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Online guys? Okay, fantastic. So my name is Bhupesh Daharia. I am a CEO of Aegis School of Data Science, Business, Telecommunication, Cyber Security. Welcome to Aegis-IBM Data Science Analytics Artificial Intelligence Meetup. Today we'll be talking different agendas. So we'll talk about who we are, what is Aegis, what is IBM. Before I'll start talking about various definitions about AI, data science, machine learning, we'll show you a couple of data product demonstrations, AI product demonstrations, and then we'll talk about invasion of future in present. So all of us, we prepare ourselves for future. I'm going to really bust your myth, there is no future. It's all about present. Future has already invaded into present. Then we'll talk about the foundation, which is big data. Why big data is in such a hype, from where the big data is coming, what are the challenges, how this big data is related to data science, what data scientists they do, and I will tell you a couple of stories behind how this data scientist word was coined. Then we'll talk about the difference between business analytics, data analytics, data scientists, right? Then we'll take a deep plunge into AI, machine learning, deep learning, right? How these fields are different, how they are related. And then we'll talk about various questions which business typically asks, descriptive analytics, predictive analytics. Then we'll go further deep into what kind of skills are needed into market, right? And then how you can really launch your career into these fields, right? So that is going to be a very long meetup. I tend to become Asharam Bapu, so I would encourage you to really ask me questions. Those who are online, they can really write your questions in chat. I'll look at those chat and then I'll respond it to you to best of my capabilities. And those who are in the class, they can actually ask me the questions, interact, right? And that will benefit, of course, the online participants. Fantastic. So let's start. So who we are? So I represent this Aegis School of Data Science, Business, Cyber Security and Telecommunication. So if you see across the world, most of the academic institutions, they follow a simple philosophy. And what is that philosophy? I term this philosophy as a potato samosa philosophy. What this philosophy is all about? If I have a potato, I will give you samosa and batata vada. I do not care what do you need, right? And that's how we have been product of academic institutions. So faculties and academic institutions deliver what they can deliver. They don't care what actually market needs. Since we are product of Indian education system, we are very critical about Indian education system, but let me tell you, this kind of phenomena is not only in India, it's worldwide. So when we started in 2002, we said, okay, we are going to really change this model, and that's how we joined hands with Airtel. So we approached Airtel and we formed this school of telecommunication, and at that time Airtel supported IIT Delhi and they formed Bharati School of Telecommunication Management. So Aegis is one of the rare examples in this country where industry and academia came into partnership and started programs beyond these academic conferences. So this relationship worked pretty well, and subsequently we started this program in around 25 countries. We delivered this program, and post 2010 we started seeing the clouds, dark clouds of disruptive technologies. And we could really sense it early, and then what we did, we joined hands with IBM, and we started discussing with them in 2014, and then 15 we rolled out India's first postgraduate program in data science, business analytics and big data. We married IBM, and our babies are healthy. They are doing pretty good in industry, right, earning name for themselves, earning money, of course. So this relationship is a fantastic relationship, and in fact in 2015 we formed this meetup group called Aegis-IBM Data Science Big Data Meetup Group, and we can proud to say that in last 3 years we have generated awareness among close to 60,000 professionals, students across the country through the various meetups, right? And today this meetup, which we are doing it on YouTube, is one of the attempt to actually address and create awareness about the data science. We started data science in this country when nobody knew about data science, right? So we are proud that yes, we have done some contribution in this. As a part of this relationship, IBM has set up analytics labs, cyber security labs and cloud computing lab at our campus. We are also partnered with Telecom Skill Council, and we have trained thousands of people in skilling. We have hosted it here in Bombay in MTN Infrastructure. We also organize Asia's largest innovation award, which is called Aegis-IBM Award, right? We also do Asia's largest data science congress, which we do every year in Bombay, right? So I could see one question over here. Okay, Nitish is trying to ask, tell us about the path to track to go to AI and ML. Okay, so Nitish, have a patience, because I will be slowly and gradually building up those concepts, right? And I am going to really address it. So have a patience, and these questions will be answered, right? But I don't want to really break my flow, right? Okay, so just have a patience. We'll come back on that. So we are one of the best schools for data science in Asia Pac region, and we are #1 in India. But this is actually a ridiculous statement, because there are hardly 2 to 3 institutions there in India to really teach about data science. So me saying that we are the best, actually it doesn't mean anything, right? We are rated among top 5 in business analytics. Again, this is a ridiculous statement. There are hardly 5 institutions which offer business analytics, right? Doesn't make sense. What makes sense that the final postgraduate certification program certification comes out of IBM. So IBM issues you the certification, final certification. Of course, Aegis also issues, and we follow the North American credit structure. So in North America, most of the master's degree are the minimum 36 credit hours. Our program is 45 credit hours minimum. So some of the student can really do 50 credit unit, 54 credit unit, right? You must be knowing about NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA produces GPUs, and that powers the gaming, right, so far. But now for last 4 or 5 years, NVIDIA has fueled this deep learning. So today NVIDIA has become #1 company for deep learning. So whether you do the image search, right, or speech recognition or voice recognition, whether it is Google, Baidu, Facebook, right, Microsoft, all these platforms, they run on NVIDIA's GPUs, right? They're leader into deep learning. And last year we partnered with NVIDIA to develop applied skills in AI and deep learning here in India. They are our proud partner. 15 days back we also joined hands with AWS, which is Amazon, right? So AWS educates all the students, those who join Aegis, they get the credit to develop a lot of applications on AWS cloud, plus also they get a lot of free access to content which are there in AWS Educate. We have been recognized by IBM last year for our contribution in terms of building up skills for data science. This is the PG certification which we offer, postgraduate program in business analytics, big data, data science. I'll tell you why we have combined all these 3 distinct fields, considered distinct, which we don't. We'll talk about more on that. We also launched a postgraduate program in cybersecurity, heavily backed up by IBM's cognitive capability. This year launching, first batch will be starting in August in Bangalore, right? We are proud to say that we also launched India's first postgraduate program in applied AI, machine learning and deep learning in association with IBM, the same format wherein IBM folks, they come, experts, they deliver a lot of courses, right, like cognitive computing, right? You can really use IBM Watson platform to build a lot of applied AI and machine learning applications, just like building up a chatbot, right, or conversational API or video analytics, those kind of stuff, right? So this program is focused primarily on building up AI applications using machine learning, deep learning, NLP, computer vision, right? We have also joined hands with a Chinese robotics company, right? So actually you can actually work on robots in terms of really training them, right? This is the certification which you get from IBM and Aegis, right? Now you must be wondering why we have joined hands with IBM. So IBM is one of the oldest companies, over 106-year-old company, right? And they have transformed themselves drastically. At one of time, they were the peak on the hardware business. They sold out that business, and they have invested roughly around $24 billion in last 10 years in big data, cognitive, right, or these kind of area in Watson platform. And their competitors together has invested roughly $2.4 billion, right? Moreover, IBM is one of the largest proponent of open source technology, so they have heavily invested. So they are the largest contributor in terms of Spark, which is Apache Foundation open source big data platform, right? They are one of the largest contributor in Hadoop as well. And most of these technologies which you keep on hearing about, machine learning, speech to text, text to speech, a lot of these technologies were invented at IBM Research Center, right? So as an academic institution, we realize that IBM has a lot of ethos in terms of our research and a lot of love for open source technology, and that's how we end up marrying IBM, right? And we're proud of this partnership. This is the identity certification which you get from NVIDIA DLI, right? So enough of sales pitch, right? So let's come down to so what we realize that this program, data science, business analytics, big data program, is a quite different program than perhaps normal management programs and other programs, and this program is very much applied in nature, right? And we realize that the model of delivery of this program needs to be drastically changed, and that's why we set up the big data product factory, and now we have renamed it as a data science delivered. And we have built up a lot of good products, right? And let me show you a couple of these products, and before I show you the products, let me ask you, most of you are online and here in the class, you are attending this meetup for data science, AI, machine learning. Any idea how many jobs are there in machine learning in this country? Any idea how many jobs are there in Java in this country? How many jobs? Lot is a vague word. Can you give a concrete number? Give him a mic. So any concrete number you can think of. How many jobs are there in C? How many jobs are there in electrical engineering? How many mechanical engineers are required?
Mechanical engineer, at the end they just come into 90.
Yeah, but any idea how many automobile engineers are required?
No, I don't know the exact rough figure, I don't know, but on a scale to 0 to 10, I would say Java would require 3 or 4 maybe.
Okay, so this is quite a vague answers which most of the academicians give, and you have picked up those terminologies. So unfortunately you don't know, and I don't expect any of you to actually know this, but even our policy makers, be it AICTE, be it UGC, be it MHRD, be it Department of Technical Education, be it your university vice chancellors, and including me, right? Okay, most of us, we actually have no idea what kind of jobs are today needed in this country, right? Most of us, we spend our hard-earned money by our parents, and those who are working, they spend a lot of saving in educating themselves, upgrading themselves, and at the end of the day we realize that the kind of skills we have acquired, the kind of courses we have gone, the kind of programs we have gone does not lead to any job, and which leads to a scenario which is called in Hindi, padhe farsi beche tel, right? Now this is absolutely a ridiculous phenomena, and not only in India, North America, US, which is one of the leading place for higher education, is struggling with multi-trillion-dollar bad loan, education loans, which means that even if you do double masters, PhDs, it is very difficult for you to land up a job. So this is not only problem in India, this is a global problem. So we thought, how about solving this problem using data science, all right? So let me show you a demonstration. Aditya, can you switch? Okay, so if you join as a student at Aegis, right, so this is the dashboard typically you will find, right, and in this dashboard you can see placement, right. So if you click on here on placement, right, here you can get inside the placement, click on job, right. So based on the courses you have enrolled for, right, this will give you an idea that what kind of jobs exist. So if you can you really name which is the biggest pie in this whole? Okay, so you can see Python, right? Any idea how many jobs are there in Python? Most of you are learning Python on Udemy or edX or Coursera or different places. Any idea how many jobs are there in Python? Let me show you how many jobs are there in Python. Okay, so all of you guys can see how many jobs are there in Python. This is the 18,000 jobs today available in this country in Python. This is out of the sample job of 1.5 lakh jobs, right? It is out of 1.5 lakh jobs, right? So this is quite a representative. In another 2 months time we'll give you the exact number that how many jobs are there. So you will see just like a stock market, just like You open up your Android app and you can see what is the temperature here in Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore or anywhere, right? In the same fashion, you will be able to really see how many jobs today you have in this market, right? And where these jobs exist, right? So you can see the #1 market is actually Bangalore. Then you have NCR, Delhi, then Mumbai, then Pune, and then Hyderabad, and then Chennai, and different places, right? Vishy, can you show? Okay. So where these jobs are actually needed. So these skills are needed in software development, business analyst, Python developer, AI, right? Data scientist needs these jobs, right? So machine learning experts need job, different kind of experience. Let's go and check. This also tells strikingly one thing, right? Click on this SQL, right? One of the major bigger part is SQL, right? Now we also blame academic institutions that whatever we study in all these academic institutions is all useless, all waste. And that's typically most of the industry so-called experts, they come and tell you these things, and they keep on bombarding you. They spoil your head that all these academic institutions, they are all waste. Whatever they teach is a useless. And I'm sick and tired of listening to these things, and sometimes, because I have two sides, one academician, one industry guy, sometimes I also loosely tell this thing. And today I need to really confess that yes, we should not really loosely speak. You can actually see that SQL is one of the second most important skill today in this country, which we consider dead. No. 14,000 jobs are today there in SQL. Factorial Analytics, which is one of the leading company for analytics, data science, they actually assess you in SQL. The world when jumping on Hadoop, can you really see Hadoop anywhere mentioned over here? Hadoop chart is very small chart, right? So it's about the how the perception is being built, right? I'll also tell you that like if you see, so you cannot really run on perception. Hadoop, how many jobs are there in Hadoop? 2,000 jobs. Against how many jobs in SQL? Again go back, 14,000 jobs. This is data. Is it going on the same link or other link? Refresh. Yeah, good. Okay, fair enough. Okay. So these are the courses the student has enrolled, right? And based on these courses and based on the grades, it is showing the recommended courses. Okay, fantastic. Can you show them this graph? Not job graph. Okay, so you might have heard about the graph database, right? Okay, and what I am showing you is basically a complex relationship between the skills, the job providers, which are companies, right, and roles, right? Okay, designations. So it is giving the complex relationship among all these three things, right? So if you click say Hadoop, it will tell you like which kind of companies are offering the job and what kind of designations you are getting. All right, okay. And this year we have also included this graph database as one of the course into data science, and there are beautiful applications in terms of recommended system, in terms of regression, right? Okay, so this graph database is now picking up in the market, right? And a lot of beautiful applications. So I just wanted to really show you this application. Now if you see, can you open kojo.com? So if you see, any idea that how many kid goes missing in this country? So there are roughly around 100,000 kids goes missing in this country. So data science, big data, machine learning, AI is not only for making money. So we have opened a center at Aegis, which is data science for social good. And under this center we took this initiative and we said, okay, can we really resolve this issue, which is women trafficking, child trafficking, using these technologies, okay. And last June we launched this project called Khojo, right. So this project is very simple, you can actually see it on your mobile, I am showing you on your camera. So what it does, so if you find a child begging on a street, because most of these kids, those who goes missing, they get into one of the trade which is called begging, right, and you activate your camera and then actually you take the photograph, right. So say for example I am taking a photograph of Tushar, right, you take the photograph and then what you do, you just upload this photograph and bingo, done. So if you see now, it is not showing, it is not taking my details, it just took the geolocation, it is pushing this image into cloud, and once this image goes into cloud, everything is clear, right. What it does, it actually checks with the missing child's image with this image, and if it finds the match, then it sends an alert to police station, it sends an alert to parents if their Aadhaar card is verified, it sends alert to the nearest police station and the police station where the complaint was launched, and then it also sends alert to NGO, because police station cannot keep children in police station, right. Now technology alone is plays a significant role, but alone is not sufficient. So what we have done, we have also joined hands with Maharashtra National Law University, which runs in this campus as well, and they will be advising on various regulatory aspects, right, considering the kind of scenario which is there in India, and we are likely to do pilot project next month in Vijayawada, right. This project is very close to my heart, right, because if you are able to really save even a one child life, right, is a great contribution you can really do to the society, right. But the estimation is that every year not only these 100,000 kids goes missing, but 100,000 kids are basically linked with close to 500,000 people, right. So the 500,000 people's life is actually destroyed, right. And this project we want to really take it to the various forms of trafficking, be it human trafficking, be it women trafficking, child trafficking, right. Sometime age old people, they really lose their way, right, and this can be really help them to really track. So these two projects, can you bring back to the PPT, Aditya? Okay. Thank you, Vishi. Okay. So two relevant projects, we also did one. So there is a leading ISP here in Bombay, and they approached us 2 years back and they wanted us to solve two problems. One is a problem of churn, the other problem is of finding out tracking different IP addresses. Yes, and online guys, is it working properly? If you have any further issues, please let me know and then we'll try to really help you. So we have Shweta, we have Sudarshan, we have Nitesh, right. Is all is good, guys? Just type please, that will make me much more confident that what I am talking you are able to really watch. That's the whole idea. Oh, fantastic. So Nitesh is saying good, Sunny is saying Sudarshan. Okay, wonderful, great. Okay, so let me continue. So this ISP wanted us to really track down IP addresses. Why? Because the crime branch used to really give them a list of IP addresses, couple of IP addresses which they have to really track down. And why crime branch you ask them to really track IP addresses? Any idea? Those who have answer you can really type, right? Let's make it more interactive. Yes, any idea? Why crime branch want to really track IP addresses? Okay. to catch the hackers, right? Okay, or those who give threats, right, or those who hack, right? So there are a lot of cyber crime which happens, right? Okay, wonderful. So Sudarshan says cyber crime, right, are increasing, and you're right, Sudarshan. Thank you so much. So these ISPs and telcos, they have a legal obligation to keep the record, and whenever the regulatory bodies they request them, they need to really submit, right? Online bullying, wonderful. So all of you are right. So they used to actually sometimes could not really track these IP addresses, and the other problem was finding the churn. Churn is basically Geo customer, say Idea customer leaving Idea and joining Geo, HDFC customer joining say ICICI Bank, right? This is the churn. It is very important for businesses to know the churn, why people are leaving and when they will leave, right? So that they can really stop them or at least they can really do something to really stop them. So these were two critical issues. We visited their infrastructure and we realized that they don't have the basic data infrastructure. They were running on SQL servers, on Edge servers, and they used to write SQL queries in night and morning. They used to generate the report and then they used to really send through email. We said before we actually do this churn prediction, which is actually large scale machine learning problem, we need to really build their data infrastructure. So we use Spark and Hadoop to build the data infrastructure, and later on we did the churn prediction, which is essentially a machine learning. Why I am speaking about this problem? Because this problem actually taught us two things. One, that nobody is going to really give you the data in platter, which typically you go on Kaggle and you get the sanitized data and then you build up the machine learning models. That's not the reality over here in India. West, of course, they have the digital infrastructure. They have a data infrastructure, which is like a foundation, equivalent to foundation in a house, right? Without foundation, you cannot build a house. So in West, they already have the basic data infrastructure. Unfortunately, most of the organizations here in India don't have. Even if they have not been collecting the data, right? They were deleting the log files and all those stuff. So in that case, if you are only knowing about data science or maybe machine learning, you will go and you will say, okay, give me the data and I will build the machine learning model. No, it doesn't work that way because you don't have the data, right? And that's the reason it is important for you to really actually know a little bit about the data engineering side as well, which is actually Hadoop and Spark and all those stuff. And that's the reason we have included this. So such kind of projects we did, a lot of projects. We are doing a cognitive chart, so you can go on aegis.edu.in and we have created a chat called Maya, right? I am training Maya to actually assist me in my coursework as well, okay? So can you tell me what are the common threads in all these projects which I have shown you? Of course, I have not shown you any project related to IBM Watson or Google Assistant and all those stuff, right? So I want to really show you some very basic use cases which are very relevant, right? Okay, seemingly simple, pretty complex, but they are relevant, right? What is the common denominator in all these projects?
Data.
Wonderful. Online guys, what is the common thread in all these projects? What is the common denominator? It's data, right? So one common thing among all these projects is data. If you don't have the data, you cannot actually do these projects. And essentially in all these projects, you are analyzing the data, right? So data or big data or variety of the data, right? Okay. So wonderful. So let's go further. Now all of us are preparing ourselves for future, right? Now let me give you some insights about the future. Okay, can you actually see the date in this slide? 2nd February 2016. And can you see this creature who's dancing? His name is Pepper, right? I met Pepper on 2nd February 2016, which is of course not a futuristic date, neither present, it's quite past. So IBM CEO and Chairman Ginny Rometty was here in India to launch Watson, and I was fortunate to be part of that launch ceremony in Bangalore. I visited in Leela, and there I saw this Pepper dancing and singing. And what song he was singing? Gangnam Style. And then he was dancing. I was thrilled because before that I saw Star Wars, so I was in that frame of mind. So I was pretty excited. Okay, so Nitesh has seen in Jaipur Tech Fest, wonderful, right? So now there are a lot of such kind of robots out there in the market, and everybody was shaking their hand, right? So I also went ahead and I shook my hand, and he introduced me. Hi, my name is Pepper and I am powered by IBM Watson. I was thrilled, and guess what? So this whole launch was almost say around 3 hours, and then Steve invited, so this is Steve, right? So Steve invited Pepper on stage, and Pepper addressed audience for roughly around 15 minutes, and I was somewhere in this middle of the audience, and see, everybody is using their mobile phone and taking the photograph, right? If I was like a Pepper, you were doing the same thing, right? And once Pepper started speaking, he addressed audience for roughly around 15 minutes. I had a goosebump, because never ever in my life I could have ever imagined that there will be an instance wherein I will be hearing some robot, because I am always on the other side, right, speaking. Not habitual of listening, but humans are different. Here was the robot, right? You guys can really go on online and can really search for a lot of Pepper videos, and you must have seen Sophia as well. All of you have seen Sophia? Okay, so Sophia is evolved form of Pepper, or I would call it like a mother of Pepper, right? Last year I saw a miniature of the Pepper, right, which could really fly drones, right? And the soul of this Pepper is Watson. Right. And when Pepper was launched in 2015 in Japan, like 5,000 units were sold. Where they're working? They're working in home, they're working in offices, right? They're working in banks and different places. And guess what? Two sides, right? Let's talk about the positive side. This Watson, which is a cognitive computer, right, which is soul. So how many of you heard about Watson? Not Sherlock Holmes Watson, the Watson, IBM Watson. So this Watson can read roughly around 800 million documents per second. That means that you roughly around 80 crore pages per second, and humans cannot compete. Okay, as a human you might be taking how much time to read one page? Maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Anybody online who can really even read one page in 1 second? Not possible, right? Humans can't really do, but this Watson can really read 80 crore pages per second, right? The application now, there is a hospital chain called Manipal, right? So Manipal hospital chain has deployed Watson to treat cancer patients, diagnose cancer patients. So cancer is becoming epidemic, right? And the most of the treatment facilities for the cancer is mainly hosted in metros, right? Be it Delhi, be it Bombay, Bangalore, right? These places, and patient they travel thousands of kilometers, right, carrying this death warrant called cancer, and they sit in a queue. So if you go in Tata Memorial Hospital here in Bombay, you'll see hundreds of patients lined up sitting over there carrying this death warrant, and then waiting for doctor to actually see, right, just to diagnose, and they wait for a week's time, right? Treatment is not possible because the queue is so long. You can only be treated when you either in hell or heaven, right? But at least you, as long as you are alive, your life is hell. And a senior doctor with almost 25 years, 30 years experience roughly takes almost 4 to 5 hours of to analyze those reports, but with the help of assistant, he roughly take around half an hour to really analyze. And what they do, they actually prescribe you, right? They write you the prescription of the doses, they send you back to your home, and there you go and take the chemotherapy and radiotherapy, because every district hospital is having the cancer treatment facility, which is primarily centered around chemo and radiotherapy, and they give you the medicines. Now, how about if you can really treat this, do the diagnosis right there in Ranchi or Bastar or Jharkhand, wherever you are, right? And Watson is primarily trying to do that. Most of these diagnostic reports are electronic reports. You can feed into the Watson and Watson can read, right? When Watson can read 800 million documents per second, within fraction of a second, Watson can really read and tell you, right? So hypothetically, you upload your report and then Watson will be able to really figure it out. Okay, you have a lung cancer, which is 3rd stage, and here are the possible options. Number 1 is chemotherapy, this much dose, survival rate is 0.5, radiotherapy, this much dose, survival rate is 0.6. And then if doctors have any issue, they can, local doctor can always consult with the senior doctors which are sitting in metros or anywhere in the world, and they can start really running the treatment. And every day thousands and thousands of research papers are being published on cancer treatment, and these doctors, they are typically in firefighting mode. They are not able to read through these research papers, which Watson can really do, right? And that's how these cognitive machines will democratize the way the treatment is being done, right? Watson is also being trained to third-year medical student, not only designed to really, not only trained to write multiple choice questions, but also to write descriptive questions. So at one day, perhaps Watson can really write a Python program, right? Don't want to really scare you. Now, let's see the darker side. My assessment is in next 5 years, those millions of people, those who are working in call center industry, they will not be having the job. Why? Because these cognitive machines, they will be doing these jobs. Because more you talk to them, more they become intelligent. They are not going to irritate you, sir, aap Ramlal, Mohanlal bol rahe hain, damn it, it is me, right? You cut the crap and talk to me, right? Okay. And they don't want to irritate you, right? So the moment you open your mouth and they will say, okay, hi Ramlal, how are you, right? So I know what your problem is, because they don't have to really go through, sir, wait, let me search your problem. They will search through the computer because they are already computer, right? So everything in their head, right? And they will be able to really fix up, okay sir, I have fixed up your problem, or it's all been resolved, or I have just fixed it, please go and check, right? Have a nice day. And they can really work 24/7. They will not have a mood swing like a human being, right? You had a fight and then you will misbehave with the customer, right? So all those issues are resolved. Now, am I talking about the future? No. So this Watson, which I have shown you the date, is basically 2nd February 2016. It's a past. The future has already invaded into our present. The only problem with this future that it's not equally distributed. It's lying in some pockets in Silicon Valley, lying somewhere in IBM Research Center, somewhere in Hirannanani Garden, somewhere in Bangalore, right? But most of us are ignorant or unaware of that, right? How it is going to really impact our future, right? There were jobs which were there 10 years back. Most of the jobs don't exist today. The jobs which exist today will not be in existence maybe tomorrow, right? Now, we are moving to a world wherein most of the jobs will be actually done by the machines, right? Okay, so I don't want to really run this video of Pepper. You can really go home and watch that video, and tons of the videos are there out there. So most of the jobs which are the routine jobs will be done by the machines, right? And in that scenario, we are moving towards a world wherein we need to figure it out, the jobs which will be left for the human being. And then we need to really identify what kind of skills will be needed to perform actually those jobs, right? And if you ask me honestly that what kind of jobs will be left for the human being, I have no idea. What kind of skills you will be requiring, I have no idea, right? Honestly speaking. Yeah, but I will walk you through a couple of skills which can really help you to survive for a few years, right? But what I could really tell you that yes, you can really divide the way the world is the time is divided between AD and PC. Now no more we should really talk about that. Now the time is separated between pre-2010 and post-2010. Post-2010, the technology has gone into the exponential curve, right, and which has forced us to actually move into the exponential learning curve. My generation typically worked on linear learning curve. You learn one database, one language, life is set, get married, have kids, buy a house, and life is set. And most of my generation people are retired, right? I was speaking in one of the top 5 IT companies learning conference, and I spoke over there, and then when I get down from the stage, right, the CEO and the L&D head spoke to me, Bhupesh, you were blunt, but your data was wrong. It's not 30% people, those who have crossed 30 are actually redundant. It's not 30%, it's roughly around 70% people. The problem is that if I have replaced them, from where I'll get the replacement, right? And the generation which has just come out of the college, actually most of the courses you have gone through, some of courses are quite relevant, but most of the courses are not, right? And by the time you will touch 26, 27, you will be actually retired, right? I just don't want to really press a panic button, but you are moving to a world wherein you have to really ride on this exponential curve learning. So you need to acquire skill, forget, learn new skill, acquire new skill, right, and keep on learning, right? So gone are those days you study for first 25 years and then rest of the years you just earn. Doesn't work that way. You have to really learn and keep learning, keep earning, keep learning, keep earning, right? And that kind of scenario. So what will be the role of us? Our role of us, if you have to really survive, we have to really learn and earn, right? That's how it will be. And that's how the human's life here essentially, right? When we were 8 men, right, when we had no houses, that's how the role for us to survive every day hunting and everyday eating, right? And that's what it is, right? And that will keep our brain agile, right? And why humans are needed to really do the routine jobs. When machines can really do, let the machines do it. And that time we can really spend maybe in Goa or Hawaii or wherever you want, right? Or you read the novels, where it is written that the humans are born to really only work, all right? Okay, but I'll leave that philosophical question to discuss at some other time, right? But that's the scenario.
So we won't be getting money by...
Yeah, so there are a lot of people are talking that, okay, if robots will start working, right, the robots need to be taxed. And when they tax, right, that money need to be distributed to those who become unemployed, right? So that kind of ridiculous propositions are also being put up, right? But we'll see, right? We have not reached that far, right, wherein we will be completely replaced by the machines. There has been a study by PwC which says that machine learning, the kind of jobs machine learning will replace, the same amount of the jobs machine learning will produce. But let's see what future holds for us, right? But I have seen a lot of waves, and I have seen the IT wave, right? And I am now seeing this wave of AI and machine learning. This wave is kind of scary, dangerous, very challenging, right? Because the kind of innovation has happened in last 5-8 years is exponential in nature. So the kind of innovation we have done in last 200 years, perhaps, and the kind of innovation we have done last 8 years is incomparable. Right? Okay, so let's come down to big data. So what is big data? Okay, so now we have 41 people watching. Welcome guys, those who are new, right? Okay, so what is big data? Anybody can really answer me? Okay, so that is the most ridiculous question and stupid question I have ever heard. Big data is a big data. It's simple, right? There is no doubt, right? The only right question is how big this data should be to be called big data. Anybody has any opinion? Whether it should be terabyte or yottabyte or petabyte or gigabyte to be called as a big data? Okay. Okay, wonderful. So, what's your name? Mukesh. So, Mukesh said that any size of the data which single computer cannot handle. Okay, that's a big data. So, in our lab also, when we were doing the churn prediction for one of the two leading mobile operators in this country, and the data size was around 40 GB. And we could not really analyze that data in single computer. We had to create a Hadoop cluster and Spark cluster, take use of couple of machines to analyze. Though we wanted to really find out the churn, which is basically large scale machine learning problem, but that problem became the secondary problem. The first primary problem became how to really analyze this data, right? So the definition of big data is the moment the size of the data becomes the part of the problem is called big data. But if you go and talk to Facebook guy and Google guy that okay, I am analyzing 40 GB data, they will say, oh, man, are you kidding, right? This is a 4 KB file. We don't deal at that level, right? But believe me, you will not be dealing with yottabyte or petabyte or right or those kind of data. You will be dealing gigabyte and terabyte, which is good enough for you because in India most of the companies don't have the data infrastructure, right? Until unless you're not working for Facebook or Expedia or those kind of companies, right? Okay, so there are tons of statistics which keeps on talking about how much data we generate, right? And you can really go and search about those statistics, but none of those numbers actually get into my head. What I could really understand this simple statement that 90% of the data in world today has been created in last 2 years only. That makes sense. And guess what? For last 3 years I have been using this slide. Today I don't know what is the number. And who cares? It might be 95% or 97%. The point which I am trying to tell, this is IBM research, that to masses, the big data is a new phenomenon, right? It's like for us, this has started affecting us in last 5-6 years, right? How old is human civilization? Perhaps 10,000 years old, right? So we generated the majority of the data in last 2-3 years only, right? Now, from where this data is being generated, right? From Facebook, from Twitter, LinkedIn, mobile devices, right? IoT devices and different places. Now, let me walk you through the story, right? Okay, this is a how this whole big data revolution actually started. So, any idea when these companies, eBay or Yahoo, Google, Amazon, these companies were started, internet companies? Alright guys, any idea when these companies were started? In mid 90s and late 90s, most of these companies were started. And when Google was started, Yahoo was started, they had actually no idea how they will make money. How do Google will make money if you search where is Hiran and Nani garden, right? Or where is Aegis? How do they make money? They search and then just go ahead. When Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook, he had no idea how he will make money. It was just fun play for him. Napster founder actually told him how he can really make money. So what these guys, they realized that, yeah, Sudarshan said 90s. Yes, you're right, Sudarshan. Thank you so much. So when these folks actually started, they realized that if they have to really make money, they need to serve ad. That's the only way of making money. That's one of the way, but that time they realized that's the only way of making money. And if I have to serve you ad, I have to become your mother, right? So your mother knows what time you wake up, what you like, what you don't like. If you don't like chapati or you don't like idli, what dish she should really serve you. So she knows everything about you. So if Google has to become a mother, then Google has to really put a camera 24/7 on your head and watch your action, which is not possible. So what way they are searching? They have become your mother. They started searching every search you're doing, every activity you're doing on the browser, right? So they now know more about you than perhaps your mother. Your mother need to consult Google or Facebook. So they started collecting the data. And they started seeing this traction in early 2000. And here the world has started seeing first time a different kind of data, because so far we were accustomed of the data which is actually row column data, Excel sheet kind of data, right? Name, age, right? Okay, income and all those kind of stuff. Very structured, semi-structured data. And when they started this search, this is a log and text and videos, images, and the world first time started seeing this kind of data, and they realized that if they have to store this kind of data, the RDBMS, traditional RDBMS is not sufficient, is not efficient, right? RDBMS is, you have to really bring a structure. So if I say, okay, just store videos or images or text in just RDBMS, can you really store without creating the structure? Very difficult, right? Now, so they figured it out, this problem, and moreover, so far the world was storing the data in servers, and servers are nothing but gold bricks. They costed a lot, right? So, so they figured it out that if they have to really keep on storing this infinite volume, because the volume of data started growing exponentially, and this started putting a pressure on cost. So they realized one thing, if they have to really cut down this cost, they need to actually get away with this notion of the servers, and they need to actually store data on what? Non-servers, right? They need to store the data on commodity hardware which are cheaper, plus they actually need to come up with a system which is a flexible system, right? So they solved this problem and then they released a paper called GFS, which was referred by a smart gentleman called Doug Cutting, and Doug Cutting and his partner in 2006 they were working on a project called Nudge project, open source search project called Nudge. Ritin, can you get me tea? I have throat irritation. Oh. So they were working on a search project called Nudge, and they referred this white paper and they created Hadoop, and Hadoop actually solved all these problems. So Hadoop was faster, right, cheaper, because then they made it in 2008, gave it to Apache Foundation, which made it free of cost. So there is no licensing fees, so you don't have to really go to Teradata or HP or IBM or anybody else and pay the licensing fees. One, so it became cheap. Second, it removed the dependency on storing the data on servers. So no more you have to build a house using the gold brick, right? So houses are cheap. Third, it gave a huge flexibility. So whatever the data you get, structured, unstructured, semi-structured, you take the data and dump it, just like your wardrobe. You dump the clothes, and then whenever you want to really go out, take the clothes, iron it and move. So if you want to really do the analysis, take the data out and then bring the structure and then analyze it. It offered a huge flexibility. You need not really worry about to bring the structure and keep on storing it. So these three things actually made Hadoop popular. In 2008, Yahoo built the world's largest Hadoop cluster in this world, and that's how the world jumped on the Hadoop. And since then, 2006, the whole world jumped on the Hadoop, right? And that's the first part of my story, right? And when they, I'll come back on machine learning and data science in my second part of the story, right? So remember 2006 and 2008, right? Which is what 50 year or 100 years back I am talking about. This is just last decade, 10 years. Okay, let's move. So I'll come back on other part of my story. Okay. So these are the four characteristics of big data. One, volume. So the volume is big, right? The size of the data is big. Second, variety, right? So as we discussed, it's not only structured data, it's a semi-structured data, unstructured data, text data, IoT data, video data, email data, right? All kind of data. And the third is velocity, right? Data is moving at a faster speed. Data has become a cheetah, right? Just like a driverless car. So the driverless car is moving, the dog is crossing the street, this car should hit or stop. Hit or stop. stop, of course, right? How it will stop? It has got the 100,000s of the sensors generating multi-gigabyte of the data per second. This data need to be analyzed in real time, not near real time, and give the indication to the card to stop. That's the velocity, right? Another example could be like a oil pipeline is going in desert, right? And some crazy man got a laser beam and started cutting the oil pipeline. What it should do? So tons of IoT sensors are there. It should send the temperature and cut the supply, right? So here the data need to be analyzed in real time, right? So data is speedy data. On Facebook, when you really read a lot of newses, right? These newses are not real time, they are near real time, right? If even there is a delay of 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour, it is not going to really impact your life, right? But in these cases, this has to be real time, right? Which is called streaming data, right? Real time streaming data. And the fourth is veracity. So when you upload your picture on Facebook, whether you upload your photograph or donkey's photograph, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't care, right? They keep on storing the data, which is veracity, which is unreliability of the data, right? Uncertainty of the data. Keep on storing and they analyze it later on, right? Okay, so this we discuss. Where do we really store? Yeah, thank you. Where do you store the data and how do you really make sense out of the data, which actually resolved it. So this is Doug Cutting's kid's toy, right, which he really named after Hadoop. Okay, so we discuss about invasion of future in present. We discuss about big data, right? And before I jump into data science, I will talk about what kind of possible questions you may encounter when you're running a business, right? As a technology guy or maybe a business guy, okay? These are the possible questions you'll encounter. The number one question is what is happening, right? Which is called discovery and exploration. Example could be, say you release advertisement for 1+5 or 1+6 in Times of India, right? Or Amazon just released a mega sale, right? So Amazon guy would like to really know, after pumping in so much of millions of dollars in advertisement, are the people actually buying? What they are buying? What is the average ticket size? Sunil Mittal, owner of Airtel, they have around roughly 350 million customers worldwide. They must be wondering how many active customers are there, what they are doing. Are they making a call or are they watching the videos? What is the data consumption pattern, right? Okay, those kind of stuff. This is called discovery exploration, right? It was very simple. If you have to really analyze an Excel sheet which is having like say 100 columns and 5 rows, you can actually solve it. But when you have 350 million customers or 160 million customers of Amazon and 50 million products, it becomes almost impossible, right? You can't run these queries even on your machine, right? And that's where in big data scenario, this exploration and discovery becomes one of the critical challenge, right? Second, what happened, right? So you release the ad, you wanted to know, right, how many people actually bought. You release ad for 1+6 and you want to see how many people actually bought. What happened, right? Mumbai University VC would like to really know how many people actually passed, right? This is called descriptive analytics, right? This was basically BI. BI unfortunately could have taken the role what data science today is doing, but it just reduced down to only a reporting kind of stuff. That's another story. But the third is what did happen. So OnePlus hypothetically wanted to sell 10 million mobile phone, and after releasing the ad, they realized that only sold 5 million. Right? You visit a doctor, you have fever, and the doctor would like to really run a diagnostic to find out why you have a fever, because of malaria or throat infection or a viral, right? This is called diagnostic. I call it a postmortem report, which people have been doing. Very critical in this big data arena, but people were doing it for long, right? Now the fourth one is what will happen. So you have 104-degree temperature. What will happen if you don't take the medicine? In 3 days you will die, or 5 days you will die, right? So doctor writes you a prescription, right? Gives you the medicine, right? That's called predictive analytics, which people were doing for a long, right? Predictive analytics or a forecast or whatever you want to really call, right? And so let's go back to again our example of 1 plus t, right? So 1 plus t, data scientists, before they actually release the ad, they could have predicted that, gentlemen, now you will sell only 5 million devices against the 10 million devices which you are expecting, right? So there could be tons of this stuff you can really do. You can do millions of things. You stop the launch, delay the launch, pump in more advertisement money, reduce the price, or fine tune the price, or remove your past bad publicity and all those stuff. So there are tons of this stuff which you can really do, which strategy guys can really take a call, or you can really automate, you can train your machines to actually take those automated actions. That's called prescriptive analytics, right? Now in a real time, most of you take Ola or Uber or Swiggy, right? Okay, so when you really open your app in Ola and you try to really book a cab, right, it shows you 5 minutes. The moment you press a button, that's a prediction. The moment you press a button, it shows you 15 minutes. That's called cheating, right? Okay, not prediction. But anyway, so it gives you prediction, and you press a button and it prescribes you car, and that's the end of the old Meru era. You book a car, the guy really actually looks it, books the car, and then in the morning when you have to really take a flight, car doesn't appear. You take an auto, crib about it, and reach airport, right? So those era is gone. So right, so this prescriptive analytics, automated prescriptive analytics, has resolved a lot of issues which is say optimization problem which industry was facing for several years. Okay. Now the last kind of question will be, what did I learn? And that's how human being actually behave. Human being don't take decisions like this, right, which I have explained you. Human being takes a decision based on what we did learn, right? So example, if I borrowed your money 5 times, never paid you back, 6th time I come and ask you, give me the money, will you give me the money? You will not, right? That's a learned behavior. But let's tweak this question in little bit. Let me further explain you the scenario. You're a very good friend of mine, and you were always with me in my thick and thin, right? And from the day one you knew that I am lying, but you also know that I am in desperate need and I have some reasons not to disclose it to you, right? And you have a lot of influence of your mother on your head, right? Unlike your rational father. In that scenario, there is most likelihood that you will again give me the money 6th time, because if the lying was the reason, you could have not given me in the first time itself, right? Because you know that I am lying. So humans behave based on the kind of learned behavior they acquire, right? Okay. What is this color? What is this color? Black. Okay. And what is this color in between? White. How did you learn? If I say white, if I say this is a pink color, what is wrong? This is what we learned, right? So these cognitive machines like Watson, they actually behave just like a human being. So they actually learn, right? Okay, let's go further. Any questions so far? So guys, if you have any question, you can actually keep on writing in chat. Okay, so let's come down to data scientists. How many of you read this article, or at least read this headline, Data Scientist, the Sexiest Job of 21st Century by HBR? Anybody actually read the article? So I read this, so many people, thousands of people, and I asked this question again and again and again, that how many people actually read this article, right? I could get only one guy perhaps in Delhi who actually read this article. Otherwise most of us, we have actually read the title only, because this is a highly abused, misused, overly used title, Data Scientist, the Sexiest Job of 21st Century. I know most of the data scientists in this country and a lot of data scientists worldwide, all those known. We ourselves do a lot of data science work, And let me tell you, this data scientist job is nowhere near to any of the sexiest stuff, right? It is not a Shah Rukh Khan or Deepika Padukone's job, right? It's a dirty job. You have to do a lot of data cleaning and then build of stuff. Can anybody tell me what is the sexiness in this job?
Predicting something, getting meaning,
Okay.
finding meaning.
Friday afternoon, you guys are not watching movie, right? Not roaming around the mall because of money, because all of you are greedy. You have no other work, right? Because there is the money, right? Okay. Now let me tell you the other part of the story, right? So in 2008, right? That's what we were talking about, 2008. 2008, two gentlemen, DJ Patil, the name seemingly Maharashtrian link. He has of course a link from Bombay. DJ Patil, he was a data scientist, he was a data analyst in LinkedIn, and there is his friend Jeff, he used to work for Facebook, and DJ Patil later on became the first chief data scientist for any government. He became the chief data scientist for US government. So DJ Patil and Jeff, they were actually not liking this whole idea of what the designation called data analyst. So and they are PhDs, right? So when you do your PhD, your DNA structure changes also. So and they were doing a lot of work which was actually beyond the job designation of data analyst. They were building a lot of recommender system, they were building up a lot of data products and all those kind of stuff. And so they actually not liking this whole data analyst designation. So these guys, they met on a beer bar, right, in a cafe, and they were having the beer and they were scribbling down about the possible job designations. So one of the job designations they came up with a data scientist. So not only these guys coined this word, but they crowned this designation on their head, right? So next time if you don't like a software tester, you go have a beer and come up with some designation, give it to your HR folks and ask them to really change the designation. Funny story, but that's how data scientist designation came into existence. In 2008, when the Hadoop became the vogue, this word was coined, and in Silicon Valley in California this word started spreading. So everybody who was data analyst or business analyst, they started taking up this designation. And then when the word started spreading like a fire, and 2012 DJ Patil actually wrote this article in HBR. I would recommend all of you to go actually read this article. This will give you a lot of insight about what this sexiness is in this data scientist. And they wrote this article, and then the whole world caught fire. And since then, all the coaching classes, every institution around the world started abusing this word. All right? Okay. So, okay. So another sexiness in this data scientist is basically they are magicians. So unlike, so for example, if you start staring at your face like this, what do you feel? Creepiness. Creepiness, right? So I don't do, right? So Kuldeep is here, I don't come in office and I start staring his face, right? Every human being, you need to open your mouth and you need to speak what you want. You can't just come and start staring people. Now these nerds, data scientists, you don't have to open your mouth. You have to just give them the data. And they put this data in this crystal ball, and then they put machine learning, deep learning, Spark, Hadoop, R, Python and whatnot, and then they give you the insight. A normal business guy need to be told problems. The gentleman, this is the problem you solve. I want to know how many people are there on right now searching my website. What is the average ticket size, right? What is my ARPU? You need to really define the problem and then define the answers. These nerds, these sexy data scientists, you don't have to define the problem, just give them the data and they will be able to really identify the right kind of question. Today the problem with this business, right, and I am a businessman as well, The greatest difficulty today is to identify the problem, formulate the question, because the moment you formulate the question, actually you solve the problem, right? It's just matter of the time. But most of us, we could not actually formulate the problem. It's just like catching the thief before he actually goes and robs you, right? When you are robbed, then you can really do a lot of analysis why this robbery was happened, right? What could be the reason? But that's useless. So you give the data. So for example, hypothetically, you give 350 million customers data to these data scientists. They will be able to really analyze, and they will be able to really tell you that these are the customers which are likely to really leave. These are the problems you might face. These are the opportunities which you are missing, right? And that's one of the sexiness with these data scientists. You don't have to define the problem. Of course, you can define the problem, which is one of the best things to really start with. But later on, they will start building up that language to speak to the data, right? They can really find the answers and formulate the questions. Wonderful. थोड़ा AC को करोगे? Reduce the temperature. Okay. So you can go and search about a lot of complicated definitions about data science on Wikipedia. I'm not going to really bore you with those complicated definitions. This is what the simplest definition I could come across, which is data science is making sense out of the data, period, nothing more, nothing less. I have to put a period over here. Data science is making the sense out of the data, period, nothing more, nothing less. It's as simple. The only problem, 20. The only problem over here is this data, right? Because this data is not seemingly innocent data which used to be post 2000. This data has become monster. This has become grown in size, big. There is a variety because not only the structured data, but you have a text, unstructured data, semi-structured data, IoT data, email data, ERP data, right? Music file, sound file, tons of the stuff, right? Which you have to really analyze. Just like in a project called Khojo, I have shown you what we are trying to essentially do, analyze the picture. And for a computer, whether it is structured data, which is your age, which is a numeric data or image or video, it's all 0 and 1. And that's what computer can understand, right? So for computer, it's all data, right? The other definition is now much more prominent definition, and which also differentiates data scientists from the business analysts, which is data science is about automating the process of data science. Seems a bit complicated. Let me explain you with example. Any of you online guys have not seen this kind of stuff? If not, please send me your photograph. I will try to put it on my Facebook profile or my wallet. Now, most of us, we have seen this kind of stuff, right? This is called recommender system. You search for a gray shirt, you don't get a recommendation of pink or red, right? This behaves the same way as the shopkeeper behaves in Dadar, right? You go and search, ask for a red shirt, they will give you the different variety of the red, but they will not show you the white shirt or a black shirt. And this recommender system also behaves like this. How many customers are there on Snapdeal? Roughly around 25 million customers, 5 million products. Amazon, 160 million customers, which is bigger than Russia's population, 50 million products, right? Now, if you have to really give this kind of personalized recommendation just like a shop does, Snapdeal roughly need to employ, imagine that all 25 million customers hypothetically doing the shop. You need to employ roughly around 25 million customers, 25 million shopkeepers, means whole NCR and perhaps Jaipur need to be converted into a call center, right? Which is not possible. This simple machine learning algorithm does that. 1/3 of the revenue of Amazon and Snapdeal comes out of recommender system. Who has built this? Data scientists. And they have automated the whole process of analysis, because this is analytics, right? So in ideal scenario, just like Uber, right? Meru, or just like a normal scenario. So imagine that you are sitting behind the screen, somebody searched for the white shirt, you send him an email that Ramlal, you were searching for a white shirt, I have got these 4 options for you, right? That is one of the way of manual analysis. So you will do the analysis and you will send. What they have done, they have automated the whole thing, right? On Google, if you go, or Facebook you go, they will give you the ad, right, which is automated ad. So they have automated this whole analytical process, right? So data science is all about automating the data science, right? It's about building up the data products, and that's where the data science is going. That's where now we have jumped into a modern concept of data science, which is data scientist, which is like a full stack data scientist. Not only that you will build up a model in R or Python naked codes, but you will also take that model and put it into a web or a mobile app, right? Okay, let's go further. Okay, so what kind of skills and competencies you require? So this is a skill competency matrix, right? Now, so you need to really have a domain knowledge. That's the base. So I worked in education, I worked in telecom. You give me a data of cancer and ask me, okay, build up a model. Perhaps I may not be, because I don't know what leads to the cancer. So just to really make it simplified, how you can really predict the price of a house, right? House price is a function of what? Size of the house and location, perhaps, right? 2 basic parameters. There could be many, right? Okay, floor and all those stuff. Now, similarly, so if the size of the house is bigger, your price will be high, right? If you buy in Hiranandani vis-a-vis in Mira Road, the price will vary because the location changes. So you know that the price of the house is function of size and location. Similarly, if you have to really predict what will lead to the cancer, you also need to really know what are the factors, right? What are the features based on which cancer can be led, right? Maybe because of drinking or smoking, or there could be millions, right? Now, if I have to really do that, I need to really know the domain, right? But you don't have to really worry about that, because in large companies you will have the domain experts, right? So let me give you a real life scenario. So Xerox Research Center was doing a research on breast cancer prediction, right? So my friend Dr. Manish Gupta, who was heading that research, and so I visited their campus and I saw a couple of machine learning guys and computer scientists and data scientists were solving this problem. But now then they had the domain expertise. So they hired a cancer specialist, right, who helped them to really pass this domain knowledge, right? And that's how they could really predict. And now so one of the senior researchers, right, Dr. Geeta, now launch a startup company called Niramai, right, which is doing a lot of significant work in this area. So as those who are starting their career, you don't have to really bog down about domain knowledge, because when you will work in the large companies, you will all have the domain experts, and the client will also pass the domain expertise. So if you work for a couple of projects, you will get the domain knowledge, so you don't have to really actually worry much about that, right? But it's very critical. That's the base. Second is stats, mathematics and probability. Every piece of analysis is basically math. So you need to be extremely good in that, right? Or at least you should have appreciation, and slowly and gradually you will learn, right? The next point is machine learning. Machine learning is one of the very important parameter, right? Machine learning forms a backbone of any data science, right? So machine learning, the traditional name of machine learning is basically statistical learning, right? And then a lot of people call it a hacking skill or IT skill, right? So I have termed it as IT tools. So you can really put R, Python, Hadoop, ClickSense, Tableau, right, Spark, TensorFlow, all those IT tools can be really bundled into this, because these are the tools which will really help you to actually do the machine learning or build the models, right? Now you will not find any industry where data science is not applied or analytics is not applied, even the government is using. So be it manufacturing, IT, telecom, healthcare, insurance, almost every industry is analyzing the data, every industry is applying data science. So even the government of India, they have launched a project called iInsight 2 years back, which is a significant project to find out the tax defaulters, right? They are applying it, they are using the big data, and that's how you must have seen in last 1 year the income tax collection has took a leap jump, right? So those who are defaulting the income tax, they are getting the notices. So millions of people got the income tax notice, and the income tax income is increasing, right? So this is a typical process of data science, right? So you collect the raw data, then you process the data, you clean the data, you do the EDA, right? And then you build the models. Models are nothing but basically you apply the algorithm. I'll talk about that in machine learning. And then you visualize, right? And then you consume and put into data product, right? What data science covers? Data integration, distributed architecture, automating machine learning, data visualization, dashboarding, BI, right? Data engineering, deployment in production mode, automated data driven decisions, right? So these all things actually cover. Now a lot of people, they ask me, and I have seen on Quora or different forums, people keep on asking, what is the difference between data scientists or business analysts and data analysts, right? And this picture is an oversimplification of actually all these three roles. And what is this? This Stone Age man, right? This is basically data analyst. When computer was evolved, a lot of people came in existence. These are basically MIS reporter creators, and they termed as a data analyst. This is oversimplification. Not every data analyst actually does that job. And then a lot of folks came as a business analyst, right? And the job was to advise companies that which product will fail, why they will fail. They could really tell what will be the revenue 3 quarters down the line, right? Which stock you need to really invest, all those kind of stuff. And they were essentially analyzing the structured data, semi-structured data, which is typically Excel sheet kind of data, small data. So they were trained to do that, right? And then this Iron Man came into existence. This Iron Man is nothing but equivalent to data scientist. Now this Iron Man can really do the job of data analyst and business analyst both, right? But business analyst cannot really build the data product, which this guy can also. And data scientists can actually analyze a large volume of the data and variety of the data. And that's how it differentiates both of them. Earlier, when the data was simple data, there was a huge need of business analysts even today. But now these days, a lot of modern organizations, they have started replacing the business analysts with data scientists. In our own program, we have seen roughly around 30% business analysts comes, because they realize that they have been trained to only analyze one kind of data, which is not sufficient, right? To give you an analogy and to give you a real life problem, like for example, you are a marketing expert, and then you have been appointed as a marketing head for KFC in India, and your job is, and you have been living in Mumbai and around, maybe you have been exposure of 2-3 states, Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore, and now you have been given a charge to really establish stores and shops across the country. You have never been to Tirupara or Shillong or deep down south, and if you have to really establish these stores, how do you do? So one of the ways is that you go do the surveys, focus surveys, right, and then really based on that you really take a call, or you take the data of MACD where they have opened the shops and then safely open the shop near to them or those cities. So multiple models, but they are primarily relying on the small data, right? A modern data scientist, perhaps what he will do, he will go and he will try to really scrape the data which is there on Swiggy or Food Panda, right, or blogs or Facebooks, and then try to really get some sense, right? And this data is not lying with them, and this data is highly unstructured data, unstructured, and moreover it is not in your database. You don't own that data, right? Those kind of expertise business analysts don't have, right? Okay, so what is the difference between data engineer and data scientist? Deepak. So Deepak, data engineers are basically their job is to build the data infrastructure, right? It is just like a building up a foundation for a house, and once you build the foundation, then the architect's role perhaps really starts, right? So data engineer's job is to really build the data infrastructure, which is perhaps on SQL or MongoDB or in Spark or Hadoop, right? So that you can actually keep on collecting the data, right? A robust data infrastructure, and then give the data to data scientists so that they can really analyze. That's typically a Western model, and even large companies here in India, they follow a different designation for data engineer, data scientist, business analyst, right? But what we have been observing a growing trend, typically in mid-sized organization, startup organization, because these designations are not evolved, right? It is very new for India and even for the Western world. But in Western world, the data infrastructure was already ready for a long, but in India we are just walking on this evolution path. So as a data scientist, most of our students actually do a bit of data engineering job, at the same time data science job, at the same time business analyst job, right? But partly data engineering jobs guys actually to really build the data infrastructure. Data scientist job is to really do the brain work, to do the analysis, right? Umang, what is the scope of a fresher may get job in data analytics or data science? Can you guide us on the path for the same? I will come on that, Umang, very soon, right? So freshers can of course launch their career in this field. We have roughly around 60% freshers, and they launch their career. In fact, the first batch guy who got the highest package was a fresher BSc stats guy. The last batch guy who got the highest package is a BCom guy, fresher, right? So freshers are able to really launch their career irrespective of their field, be it engineer or non-engineer, right? The only thing today what is needed is a right kind of exposure, right kind of knowledge, and moreover knowledge, your ability to actually build product, demonstrate it, right? So nobody is interested what do you know, but what they are interested what you can really do, right? So let's come down to AI. Okay, so now this is the third part of my story. So we are stuck in 2008, right? Last decade. So when these companies figured out that they have to really serve the ads and they've started collecting this data, which became a big data, and then data scientist word was coined, they also figured it out that they can't really do this whole analysis part manually. They need to build the data product, which we discussed. But how they can really build the data products, right? Just like this recommender system, right? Or the ads. If they have to really build these data products need to be smart products. They cannot be hard-wired, hard-written codes, right? Or hard-wired softwares. They need to be essentially the smart softwares which can actually learn from the data and which can keep on changing. Like for example, your mother gave birth to you and you keep on acquiring new skills. Which language you learn? Java perhaps, right? Now you have to really learn Python or maybe Scala tomorrow or then Julia, right? But you will not keep on going back to your mother and ask, okay, change my brain. No, right? Your brain is adaptive. It can really learn, keep on learning. But most of the softwares, essentially, they are dumb softwares. They are hard written softwares. 2 plus equals to 2, right? And if you have to really, if you change the data, it is very difficult to actually, these softwares cannot really adapt, right? You have to really rewrite the codes. To give you example like a spam filter, right? In Google. So Google do not read, Google engineers, they do not keep on rewriting the software every day. It's written and it keeps on learning. So for example, if you keep on sending you the email continuously, if you click on a spam, now all of other people, this email will automatically get into the spam, because this is learning from the this is learning from the data, and that's how the human being learns, right? And in in early 2000, scientists have realized that they need to really work and make software smart, And that's how this whole interest in AI, machine learning and deep learning was renewed, because otherwise machine learning AI concept was evolved in mid 50s. Deep learning became prominent, came into existence in 80s, right? And they were all part of the research lab and universities, right? But never saw a real life. But all of a sudden, when we started seeing this large volume of the data and people realized that they need to really do the automated data analysis and build the product, all of a sudden all these technologies came into the real existence, right? So what is AI? AI, we start kar do na. What is AI? AI is nothing but basically it's a more of a philosophy. It's a philosophy of bringing machines closer to the human being. So in mid 50s, scientists thought, how about training machines to do tasks which are simple for the human being? What are the tasks simple for the human being? To identify whether this is black or white, whether it is cat or dog, right? To distinguish your mother and father's voice. These are the simple tasks, right? Making chapati, roti and idli, dosa, these are pretty complicated tasks, right? And it took almost 70 years for machines to even do it rightly, to distinguish between cat and dog and man and woman, right? Okay. And that was more of a philosophy. To accomplish that task of bringing machines closer to the human being, you bring a lot of technology, right? And AI is basically part of computer science, right? But to accomplish that philosophy of bringing machine closer to the human being, you require a lot of competencies which need to be inbuilt into the machines, right? And what are those? So as a human being, what you are capable of, you can now watch me, you can see me, you can hear me. If I say this is a snake, is this a snake? Huh? Am I God, Lord, Krishna? If I say I am Krishna, reincarnation of Krishna, you'll say this guy is gone idiot, right? He is saying this slide changer as a snake, right? Why? Because your brain functions, right? You can apply your brain, you can put your logic. If I say, okay, can you put 2 plus 2, or if I give you a puzzle, you can solve. So you have a problem solving capacity, right? If I give you some, whatever written on this slide, you can actually read. So human mind can read, they can see, they can sense, they can smell, they can touch, they can walk, they can dance, right? You have different abilities. And if you have to really replicate these capabilities into the machines, you have to transfer these capabilities essentially into the machine, right? Now, if machine has to see, just like this Khojo project, which is actually seeing the images, right? And there is a subfield in computer science which is called computer vision. If you have to pass this vision ability to machine, you have to apply computer vision, right? If you want machines to read, you need to give them NLP capability. So Watson, when Watson has to really read through these texts, millions of documents, Watson applies NLP, right? Then you need to really give machines ability to really learn. As a human being, we can really learn, and that's where the machine learning actually works, right? So this is cat, this is dog, this is white, this is black. You have learned, right? And this is the same way you actually make machines to really learn. That's a machine learning capability. And then deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning, right? So then speech to text, right? So if you speak to Pepper that hi Pepper, and Pepper will listen to this, and if you ask Pepper who is Mahatma Gandhi, Pepper will respond to you. So Pepper is using speech to text and text to speech conversion, these technologies, right? So AI is basically combination of multiple technology sets which helps machine to come closer to the human being, is sample. And it is more of a philosophy, it's quite a fluid stuff, it's not very concrete. And most of the applications today you see in the market, they are basically low AI applications, and they are primarily built on machine learning and more of deep learning, right? They are not full-fledged AIs, right? They are not high-level AI. And if you have to really give ability to dance and walk, and that's where the robotics comes into the picture, right? So it's basically amalgamation of lot of fields, subfields of the computer science, right? And is it a separate field? So a lot of people ask that, okay, I want to really make a separate career into AI. There is a research, so Gartner is one of the leading research organization which publishes research papers, research reports which is referred by most of the CEOs and top organizations worldwide. And Gartner published this report which says that by 2020 every piece of application, every piece of software which you are going to really write will have embedded intelligence, right? What it means that the old model which is of developing the software, which is a hardware software, it is undergoing a tremendous see-through change. There is a paradigm change, right? Most of the softwares now are becoming smart softwares. Let's take example of YouTube. What is YouTube? You tell your father and ask what is YouTube, he'll say, beta website hai. Right? This is a piece of software. But now this software has become smart. Right? This software has gained like has become your mother. So if you start watching Rihanna, it will start showing you the Rihanna. If you start watching Crime Patrol, this will flood it with the Crime Patrol. Right? So this is becoming smart. You go on Swiggy, Ola, these are the smart softwares. They're learning on the data, right? Amazon, right? Or the Google spam filter. These are all softwares, but they are becoming smart softwares. This recommender system which I have shown you, job recommender system, it is not hardwired system, right? This is learning. These are the smart softwares. So every software engineer who's writing the code is actually needed to build the smart software, and if you have to build the smart software, actually you need to learn AI. And when I say AI, I mean to say machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, NLP, right, and tons of other stuff, right? Okay, so as I told you, most of the applications today you will find in the market which are labeled as AI, they are low level AI, and they are primarily built on machine learning and deep learning, right? They are not high level of AI, right? High level of AI typically you see in movies only, or like a Sophia or maybe Pepper, right? But they are still not very high level of AI. So what is machine learning and deep learning? So AI is a philosophy of bringing machine closer to the human being. Machine learning is a subset of AI and which helps to accomplish the task, and deep learning is a further subset of machine learning, right? Deep learning came in existence in last decade, right? But in India you are seeing a lot of traction in last 5 years, okay? Okay, so what is machine learning? Machine learning is basically subset of AI, and it is a data science technique or AI technique which essentially learns on data, right? Again going back, so the simple way of understanding at least conceptually about machine learning is actually go back and to a child, how a child learns. So imagine you are a child, right? How I have to really teach you that this is cat and this is dog? How your mother taught you? Your mother taught you that this is black and white, right? This is white, this is black. Your mother taught you, and your father must have done the model correction, right? So this is white, this is black. Similarly, so if you have to really train a child, so you will show a dog picture or real dog, real cat, right, picture, and then keep on showing it many times, and the child learns. Now imagine there is a machine. When I say machine, is basically computer. So if you have to really train computer to distinguish between cat and dog, you have to feed cat photograph and dog photograph. 100 photographs of cat, 100 photographs of dog. If you show the next photograph which belongs to cat or dog, it can distinguish with a reasonable accuracy rate depending on the algorithm you are applying, right, which is typically classification problem. Right, and that's how the machine learns. Machine learning also helps you to really write smart software which essentially learns on the data without reprogramming it, right? Okay. Now Machine learning can do, so in next 5 years, this is one of the most important slide, right? Okay, so I will explain you conceptually what machine learning can really do, or what business problems, questions you can answer through machine learning. Machine learning can do infinite things, but machine learning can only answer few business questions, which is typically 6 to 7 questions. I am going to really tell you 4 or 5 questions which machine learning can answer. One of the most important questions which you will find in business, which is whether this is a man or whether this is a woman, whether this is a cat or whether this is a dog, right? Whether this is a malignant cell or whether this is benign cell, whether this patient is having malaria or a viral, right? Whether this is a black shirt or a white shirt. And that's how the computer system need to really understand it. This is a black shirt, now I have to really show him a black or a gray, right? So there are multiple applications, right? So when you encounter with this kind of problems, when you have to really answer whether this is A, B, C or D or E or F, this is cat, dog, elephant, donkey, right? If you encounter these kind of problems, which is typically called classification problems, you apply machine learning algorithm, simple, right? So that's the first category of questions. Who is this, right? A or B or C, right? One question. Second kind of questions it can answer, which is related to the numbers. How much rain in July will Mumbai will have, or how many people will walk into my cafe in Chili's pub here in Hiranandani Gardens on 31st night. What will be the stock price on Monday for TechM, right? What will be the India's population after 20 years, right? How much grain we will produce in this country? What will be the price of potato, say, next month, right? How much water we will need to really right? So any question which is related to number, how much or how many, which you will encounter in lot of scenarios, you have to really answer that. And that's where you will apply a lot of machine learning algorithms which are called regression algorithm. Regression is in statistics for last 200 years, borrowed in machine learning in last few years. So statistics is mother of machine learning, right? Got it? Now third kind of question. Third kind of questions is basically, is it a normal behavior or abnormal behavior? Again, becoming your mother. So you walk inside your home covering your mouth 12 in midnight and your mother identifies that you are drunk, because this is suspicious behavior. You don't do in daytime, right? You don't cover your mouth. Okay. So mother intuitively identifies that this is actually abnormal behavior, not a normal behavior. Let's take an example in a business scenario. You use a credit card, you do a transaction of only 5,000 bucks, and all of a sudden you make a transaction of 20,000 bucks. System identifies that this is abnormal behavior. There is an anomaly in system, right? And you receive a call, sir, is it you who has done the transaction of 20,000 bucks? Clear? So these are algorithms called anomaly detection algorithms or fraud detection algorithms. There are millions of multiple of that, right? So you can actually apply those algorithms. Another kind of problem is basically which in business scenario, which is called segmentation problem. So if for example again let's go back to a child. So if you give white, green, blue balls to a child, the child intuitively will really put white ball separately, green ball separately, blue ball separately, even though he doesn't have any color sense, even though he doesn't know that this is black or this is white, right? And this called, in business this is called segmentation, right? And in machine learning or statistics this is called clustering problem, right? This is unsupervised problem. So first you apply clustering, and then you, once you cluster it, you name it, and then this becomes a classification, right? So when humans first saw this cat and dog, they actually didn't knew that this is cat or dog. So based on the shape and size, they must have given cat a name of a cat and dog a name of a dog, right? So the first time when the human encounter, that was basically clustering problem, right? And when they gave the name, this became a classification, right? So once you do the namikरण, right, which you call it क्या उसको कौन सा ceremony बोलते हैं? हाँ, right, then this becomes a classification problem. And then another problem is basically ranking. So how do you really rank? Which Google or Yahoo does that, right? Most of the search engine. Any question guys on this? Right? And let me show you a very interesting stuff which is personality insight, right? Can you click on this? Open this. 9. Okay, so our generation is the generation which has become the first time immortal in this human history. So whatever you share on the Facebook or everywhere on net, it's analyze. It's not only stored, analyze. So this is a Watson API which calls personality insight, right? So you might find a lot of kitchen philosophers in your group, right? They do a lot of bombard you with a lot of philosophies on Facebook. What you do, you cut paste their philosophy and put it into this API, right? You can analyze their tweets, you can analyze the text. Let me do the body of text analysis. So here is already some text and let us analyze. So what it tells you, it analyzes 7,000 words, very strong analysis, summary. You're excitable, analytical and strict. You're philosophical, you're open to tons of analysis. Then Mark Zuckerberg doesn't care you're a sensitive or you're extrovert or introvert or a fake or fraud, whatever, right? What Mark Zuckerberg cares, what you will buy and what you will not buy, right? What it tells, that you are sensitive to be ownership cost when buying automobiles, right? Like historical movies. So it means that I should not really show you the ad related to BMW on Facebook, right? Because you will not buy. What you will buy, that you like historical movies. So I can actually show you, Netflix can really show you some historical movies ad, right? And then you are sensitive to ownership cost, right? So maybe 800 Maruti 800 ad I can really run, right? Then you are unlikely to be influenced by social media during product purchase. Means I should not really give you the ad, right? I need to really adopt some other means. Okay. Then prefer style when buying clothing, right? So when you are walking inside the mall, okay, I should really hand over you some leaflet, right? I should really give you the new designs. So this is the way they have done the massive analysis about you, right? So this is scary. Okay, let's go back to the PPT. So I have listed down a couple of APIs, which is visual recognition. You can really go and check those APIs, beautiful APIs. Okay, tools. So you need to know R, Python, MATLAB, SPSS, Apache Mao, tons of the tools are there, Spark MLib, Microsoft Azure, then AWS ML, right? Then Watson platform, Google TensorFlow, prediction.io. Now in real life scenario, you will be toggling between R and Python both. R is needed as a passport to be a data scientist. And then MATLAB is more for the academic purpose, but a lot of companies are also using. Apache Mahout, SPSS is being used for a lot of large organizations. Apache Mahout and Spark MLib, these are for the Hadoop foundation, Hadoop framework, and they are primarily used for large scale machine learning. We are using Spark MLib. Spark MLib is becoming quite popular. Microsoft Azure, AWS ML, and Watson platform and Google ML platform, AI platform, they help you to really actually give you a lot of pre-trained APIs, right? Pre-trained models, wherein you don't have to really give a lot of data to really train, because there will be a lot of issue in terms of really training the machine learning algorithms. Other part is you also with minimal level of coding knowledge, you can actually build beautiful products. So you might have written some model in R or Python and you want to really consume it into a product and you don't have that kind of level of coding expertise. You take this model, put it into the AWS or Microsoft Azure platform, they will generate the API which you can really consume into a website or maybe a mobile app, right? But in real life situation, most of these combination of these skills are needed. You just don't become a data scientist or machine learning guy just by learning R or a Python, right? In real life situation, there will be multiple use cases wherein you have to really learn. A lot of startup, 80% of startup, they are running on AWS, right? And so you can really do a lot of fast deployment of machine learning models on AWS. But when you can really learn in an easy way on AWS or Microsoft Azure, why the hell you have to really learn on a hard way of R and Python? The answer is that most of these APIs are, again, though they are they are hardwired APIs. You cannot really do a lot of modification, right? They are good to actually do the prototyping, and if actually suits to your application, you can really use them, but if it requires a modification, actually you cannot do. And sometimes the client may also be sensitive to the cost of ownership of these APIs, right? And that's where you have to really build a ground up, right? So that's where you need to learn in a hard way, right? You have to really learn the open source tools so that you are capable of building the model at your own rather than just relying on using APIs, right? Which I call it like a training yourself just like a mechanical way, right? So you're becoming a bike repairing engineer who does not know how the engine actually works, which will not take you in a longer run, right? Okay, so deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and deep learning basically is good for image, text and video and sound analysis. Became quite prominent in the last 6-7 years. And why it became prominent? Because you have now a lot of data available, large data set available, labeled data. Plus you also have the GPUs available, right, which can really support large level of CPU power, right, computational power. Now let us go back to understand difference between machine learning and deep learning in a crude way, oversimplified way. Let's again go back to, okay, so Nitesh is asking, sir, any free platforms like Azure, AWS, and what's the best thing? So there is a platform called prediction.io, right, which is like Azure and AWS, where a lot of pre-trained APIs are available. Prediction.io. I'm not finding it very much companies adopting it in India, but a lot of companies in Western world are working on prediction.io. What is the scope of fresher may get a job in data analytics or data science? Yes, so freshers are getting a lot of jobs in data science and analytics, provided you have the right kind of skills, and I will be talking about those tools, Malin, right? Just wait for a minute. So this, again let's go back to the child. So you are a mother of a child, you have trained a child that this is cat, this is dog. The child understands the smaller version of a dog is a cat and bigger version of a cat is a dog, right? That's a simplistic way. And all of a sudden the child is encounters with a bonsai dog. Cat is there and bonsai dog is there, and child says, Mama, this is cat. And mama then again corrects this child, beta, this is not a cat, this is a dog, you see its nose, its a ear, it's a shape, and then the child goes deeper into the different features and the layers. So deep learning actually works on the multiple layer, right? And that's the reason. So now the child's brain processing power is consumed much more, right? Because he has to really look at carefully. Now just based on the size, he cannot really distinguish that this is cat and dog. And again he will make mistakes several times, and the mother will tell him, right, and he will start correcting himself, right? So that's basically a crude way of oversimplifying the difference between machine learning and deep learning, right? Though it's not so simple, but that's basically conceptually it will help you to understand. So whenever you have a conceptual difficulty about understanding machine learning, you go back to your mother and child, and the machine learning is very simple, right? Okay, so top skills in the market today. Okay, so this is going to really answer Nitesh and your question, right? Okay, so Nitesh is asking, tell us what is the best use of these tools to do coding yourself. Okay, so Nitesh, the best use case is perhaps like you don't have a time and the client wants you to really build a prototype in next 1 week time. You can't really do it a ground up, or maybe tomorrow you can just go on Microsoft Azure or AWS and really build some product and show him, right? And then we'll discuss about the efficiency or the cost and all those stuff. Later on you can actually switch on to the ground up writing the code yourself and building everything your own, right? Depending on the different use cases, like for example, in this Khojo project we realized that most of the ready APIs were not supporting us, right? So we have to really do the ground up charger. So there are multiple use cases, but it's a good that you should be able to really write a ground up code, and plus at the same time you should also need to really know these platforms, right? And that's how we really teach in our program how to really write build up a model using R and Python in first 2 terms, and the last term we give you the exposure of AWS and Microsoft Azure or Watson platform, because we know that in real life scenarios in startup companies and mid-sized companies, large companies, it might happen that you will be using those platforms, right? Because this actually accelerates your development process. Now Manil Verma has a question: I am pursuing BSc Statistics, is better to go for Masters in Statistics or Data Science? Manil, this is all depends on you. If you want to really go for the PhD in statistics, I would recommend to go and pursue the PhD, do the Masters in Statistics. And of course, if you get a statistics in institutions like ISI, you should definitely go over there. But if you are trying to really get into a data science field, which is not purely statistics, which is all about the application of statistics and IT tools and machine learning, I would recommend you not to take a path of statistics and go over there directly, because we have seen statistics candidate highly successful after this program, right? We've also seen a lot of MSc statistics candidate joining this program even after the job, because they realize that just simply building up a statistical model is not sufficient for them, right? Because they need to really build very high level of computational models, automated data products, which they are not able to really build based on this statistics concept. And statistics is, if you keep on studying statistics deeper into that, this will also touch a point of a level of abstract theory, right? And that's where I have really heard a lot of dissent in these students, because what their teachers are telling, they are not able to really comprehend and see where they are going to really apply, right? So I think with the BSc statistics based knowledge, you are good to actually go. And in fact, in first batch we had a boy who was a BSc statistics guy, and he got the highest package, right? And this batch, his package was around to 12.5 lakh rupees, right? In the first batch, right? So you can go in this field, but that call you have to really take where you want to really go. Brahma, is it necessary to have a computer science background to make a career in the same as a fresher? I am from mechanical background. Okay. And have learned Python and working on these skills. Wonderful. So you have already broken down this old model of mechanical engineer. So last week I was giving a meetup in Hyderabad, and one of my student, last batch student Ravi Teja joined me, and this guy is also a mechanical engineer, and he really narrated about his story about becoming a data scientist. So it's a wrong notion, though all these tools, if you see NLP or R or a Python or Hadoop, Spark, like Tableau, Cognos, right? All these tools seems like a lot of IT. But let's understand, whether you are a computer science guy or whether you are a mechanical engineer or BCom guy or a statistics guy, doesn't matter, because even computer science guy has not studied all those stuff. So nobody has got any leverage other than psychological leverage, right? So a computer science guy or IT guy psychologically might feel that he is closer to this, but actually he is not in reality, because he has not studied all those tools in the college. There are hardly 3 to 4 universities in India which teaches actually Python, right? Ironically. So nobody has got any advantage. Even if you are a coder, what I have seen, even those who are coders worked in IBM or TCS or Wipro or Cognizant or all these companies, work 3-4 years, they have a huge disadvantage, because their brain is being damaged, because they have learned coding in a shortcut way, which is cut and paste, right? So they actually don't learn from the basics. They have got into a bad habit of really adopting the shortcut. And so it doesn't matter, Brahma, whether you are from mechanical or civil or BCom background. So the last batch guy who got the highest package is BCom guy from Delhi University and doing the hardcore machine learning job. The girl who got the best employee award in e-clerks, she's a BCom girl from our institute. Doesn't matter. So being an engineer, which is a pseudo engineer, I had a huge prejudice against non-engineers. In the first batch, we only gave admission to only one guy who was a BSc statistics guy. Majority of the candidates were the engineers. And this statistics guy actually changed our perception. So now we have changed our model based on the data. And now the data is saying doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter, background doesn't matter, your qualification doesn't matter. What matters, that are you open-minded? Can you really study for 10-12 hours? Are you open to really study? If your brain functions logically and if you can really work hard, you can learn anything. And 10 days back, Stanford actually released a research which actually abolishes this old notion of a passion, right? That you are born passionate to really write a code. And they said this is all crap, right? They proved it with research. And they said, like, if you do something good, and if you produce result, it will invoke the interest, right? And then further it will build up your passion, right? So if you have a bad teacher and they kill the interest, right, your passion will go down the drain, and then say, okay, I don't like the mathematics, I don't like the coding, right? That's how it works. Or maybe you studied something and you could not really get the job, your passion is killed, right? So actually success feeds into this thing, right? And which perhaps Asian parents actually knew, right? And that's the reason they never cared what you like and what you don't like, right? They just simply pushed you. Okay, so coming back, did I answer your question? Perhaps yes. Okay, so the most important skill is statistics, then machine learning, NLP, R, Python, Hadoop, Spark. Hadoop is going down because Hyderabad can have a capacity to produce 500,000 people in Hadoop every year, which has priced down the salaries, but that's a joke, right? But on a serious note, Spark is picking up because Spark is much more efficient. It can really have 10x to 100x performance over the Hadoop, right? Now statistics, as I told you, the original name of machine learning is statistical learning, right? India is inherently basically a consumer of algorithm, not producer of algorithm. We are IT superpower. Anybody can really tell me what is the India's ranking in terms of best coders? We are 28. The only console for us that Americans are 32nd, right? Which is the #1 country for the best coders, China, maybe because of numbers. But yes, if you go on LinkedIn and if you search for the data scientists, you will find tons of the Chinese working for LinkedIn or Microsoft or other places, right? So data is actually supporting that. #2 country is Russia, #3 is Ukraine. We thought Ukraine is a third-rated country in a lot of Eastern Europe countries. Why? Because they are extremely good in mathematics. If you're good in mathematics, your logic is, your brain actually trained to function in a logical way. And if your logic is strong, writing a code becomes like singing a song. That's it. That's how it works. And that also supports the data that those who come from the mathematics statistics background, they actually outperform the other way around, other esteemed candidate. So statistics is very important, linear algebra, right? Then machine learning, NLP, R, Python, Hadoop, Spark. Then deep learning, Google released it 2 years back. It is growing exponentially. So now today every data scientist job actually requires TensorFlow. I have analyzed over 300 data scientist jobs across the world, and some of the skills which every data scientist job they ask are actually listed over here. So the first thing they ask is about linear algebra, statistics, mathematics, right, machine learning, and then R and Python, right, both of the language. And now they've started asking for the Spark and deep learning, right? They are necessary, and a lot of companies they are asking for NLP as well, right? And that's where you actually touch the boundary for AI, right? These are the skills which is more on the AI side, which is cognitive computing, robotics, computer vision, speech recognition, right? These are a lot of subsidiary skills, right? Graph database is growing. SQL is always hot. Still, every data scientist job requires you to know SQL and Python. Okay, any question, guys? Okay, so let's go. Career in data science. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, that all these years I have been talking and using this wrong data, 1.5 million data scientists. You actually don't require 1.5 million data scientists. You at least you don't require 2 lakh data scientists in this country. All this data is wrong. My estimation is roughly you require close to 20-25,000 data scientists in this country, right, which is a big number. We'll actually tell you the exact number in another month's time, right? Machine learning I have shown you is roughly around 5,800 jobs are needed in this country today, right, which is based on certain data, right, which is based on almost 150,000 jobs. We'll give you the exact number maybe in some time. Yes, Umang, we will upload this PPT, right? We'll be glad to really do that. Okay. But whatever the jobs are today there in the market, that tells us that there is sufficient jobs, right? Of course, this cannot really accommodate every engineer which is being produced in this country, which is like 1.3 million, right? But there is enough number, and this number is growing. Now this is the real data. So in last batch we had 45 students and 45 companies came, 54 students, 45 companies came for the campus. Now I used to run a company called G4 Testing, and we used to do the testing for TCS, Capgemini, Hexaware, CSC, right? And we did a campus for Pillai, and there were almost 3,000 candidates came, and we recruited hardly 105 candidates. And this I am talking about when the IT recruitment was on peak. Right? And that tells us the kind of requirement today you have. The companies are not getting the right talent, right? And there are tons of the self-proclaimed data scientists out there, right, proclaiming, okay, I have learned machine learning on Udemy in 8 hours. Only American idiots can really talk about that, right? And no Russian will tell you, okay, in 8 hours you can really learn the machine learning. 8 hours you cannot even learn the linear regression. Forget about the whole machine learning. IIT Bombay, they teach SVM almost 40 hours, 30 hours. But Americans are God gifted, right? They can do all those magic. Okay, all Marvel superheroes are Americans actually. Our God Hanuman perhaps could not really make in that. Okay, so these are the companies which actually came for the recruitment. If you see 90% of these companies actually you are not aware of. What it tells that 90% of recruiters are unknown recruiters. Most of these companies, since this is a new field, a lot of new companies are coming up. Any idea which is the largest company for analytics in this country? IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, Infosys, TCS. It's a new Sigma in Fractal Analytics. Fractal Analytics was established in 2005. These are the respected companies, pretty large companies, right, and true MNC in nature. We are not aware of, right? Okay, and companies like even say Deloitte, which is EY, which is management consulting, they are hiring, they hired from us. Companies like Ford, companies like Mercedes, what the hell they are hiring? They hired our students. What automobile companies are doing? Because they need to really make their vehicles efficient, they need to design their engines, right? They need to collect the data, right? How people are driving, right? So cars are becoming smarter. Ford has hired one of the largest AI team built up in US. Tesla is an AI company or automobile company or what? It's an AI company. Everybody else makes the cars, right? So all these things are merging, right? So it's applied, it's there in everywhere. Credit Vidya, wonderful company to really work. Loginex right here in Hiranandani Garden, they power. So you buy, you do a purchase and Loginex tells you how much time this will take to really, what time your shipment will arrive at your home, right? Real time analytics. Okay, so here are some questions. Rajat said, I don't love to code. So I presume the data science field is not meant for me. Rajat, the hard and the crude answer is so my mother, father, they never they were not married in love marriage, right? Okay, so their marriage was arranged marriage, but they live happily, they loved each other, right? So this whole love and passion concept is perhaps overrated, right? So you start falling in love with something if you really do it good, because you don't know until unless you don't do it. So until unless you don't die, you will never know whether you are in hell or you will heaven, right? So, but of course, if you have really strongly determined and you know that you hate coding, then perhaps this field, you should abstain yourself from this field. But still my advice is that you should not really be prejudiced at what you love and you don't love until unless you actually try. And try with good hands, good mentors who can actually invoke the interest and create a love for you, for those fields, right? When a BCom guy can really code, right, and everybody can really code, you can also do. Okay. What are the prerequisites to start deep learning? One of the prerequisites for deep learning is a Python, right? And I would also recommend that you should really go through the machine learning and then jump on the deep learning, but now these days it has become a fashion that just download the TensorFlow and start learning deep learning, which is actually hampering your brain, because deep learning is a black box, and whatever the product you will build, you will not be able to really explain to the client why the deep learning models are actually telling that. And most of the clients will ask you for the explanation, and that's where you require traditional machine learning understanding and mathematics understanding, right? But the answer for the prerequisite is simply Python. But if you want to go in a longer run, machine learning and statistics. Nitesh, I am in second year from BIT. May I join this PGP program? I am also interested in it. I wish I could have given you the admission, but not. You have to really complete the entire engineering and then apply. But you can really start acquiring one skill every term, right? So you can really start learning Python or R or those kind of stuff, right? Brahma, sir, what would you recommend after Python so that I could bag me a decent package job in a real time? Okay, so you'll get a job in real time only. You have a mechanical background, so you learn the Python, so you can actually, if you are extremely good in Python, anybody will give you the job, because Python is a general programming language, not only for the data science. But if you want to get into the data science, Python alone is not sufficient. You need to know machine learning and statistics, right, before anybody will actually consider your CV. So linear algebra, statistics, probability, machine learning, and then Python, and then you are actually qualified to actually for some interviews. Of course, after that you can really learn deep learning and other stuff, but machine learning and math understanding is must for you to really get the job. But if your objective is only the job and you don't care about deep learning, data science, then you can really learn Python good, do some portfolio projects, right, build some applications, and then apply for a job. There are tons of the jobs available for the Python, right? Okay, did I answer your question? Okay, so there are tons of the jobs, variant job, the jobs, like the top job is data scientist, but you can really get a job as a software engineer. big data software architect, Hadoop developers, IBM InfoSphere Big Insight, right, network analysts, right, fraud analytics, market research analysts, right, tons of the jobs are there. R developer, Python developer, business analyst. So there are tons of variations of the jobs are available. Okay, Sudarshan, I have done B from NSIT, I have learned Python and in a data visualization. What to do next? I am confused. Okay, so you have some foundation which is Python, and then you have done visualization. Again, same advice which I gave to Brahma, that you need to learn machine learning. If you want jobs in data science or analytics, and you need to learn some mathematics, linear algebra or statistics to really fetch a job. But if you are good in Python, you can start applying, and there are a lot of companies which are hiring Python developers, and not necessarily you need to really learn the machine learning and other stuff. But if these jobs are machine learning engineers or data scientists, definitely you need to, right? But you can apply for a Python developer. Can you please explain me the term data warehouse? So data warehouse, the modern name of data warehouse is basically data engineering, right? Or on a cloud terminology is a data lakes. So data warehouse is just like a normal warehouse wherein you keep the goods, right? And in data warehouse, instead of goods, you keep the data, right? So in a oversimplified and loosely way, data warehouse is basically a place wherein you have tons of servers put up, and then you are storing those stuff, you are storing the data, right? Sudarshan, and how to learn that? Machine learning, there are tons of the sources, I will come on that. Okay, so how do I enter into this field? So you need to really familiarize yourself, you need to learn. I gave you this 20,000 feet view, so you need to really further take a deep dive. So this is the one blog which is a good blog, datasciencegyan.com. You can go over there, keep on reading those articles, do the research done by IBM or Microsoft or Google, right, which is a good place. Lot of other places like IBM blogs, you can go over there, you can go on Analytical Vidya, right, there you will get lot of tons of materials, right. And then you can download these white papers. This is the white paper we published, Data Science Transforming the ICT Domain. This will really talk a lot about data science. You can download this white paper, just Google it, right, and it's available on MUSD or Aegis site. Then there is another white paper by Aegis and Deloitte, Opportunities in Telecom, Rising from Big Data, right. This talks about the big data, very good white paper. The third white paper we released last month, which is about NLG, natural language generator. So there are hardly 5 companies worldwide which are actually working on this concept, which is actually, it is a subset of AI. So if you have a graph, it converts that graph into a text paragraph, right. It's a very advanced technique. So now we are including NLG as a elective course into our data science program and AI program. This is a good white paper, you can really go and check that. Okay, so how do we really start? So a lot of you were asking questions, how do we really actually learn? So you can actually pick up short certification on Coursera or edX or MUSD site, right, or you can check in Aegis. Does your institute provide distance learning? Brahma, yes, we provide executive program, which is online program. We have candidates from around 25 countries. They attend these classes. These are live interactive classes on Saturdays and Sundays, and Ritin will really talk more about that once I finish. Is Spark or Hadoop compulsory for being a data scientist? No, it is not compulsory, Shrikant. A lot of data scientists, if you are working for a large company, or if the company is very specific that you have to only simply build the models, you don't have to really learn Spark or say Hadoop. Spark can be used for say data engineering, at the same time machine learning. But if you are dealing with a large scale of the data, Spark is important. So in Spark you have Spark MLab library, which is used for the large scale machine learning. So if you say, for example, when we are doing the churn prediction for 2 telcos, and the data size was 40 GB. We had to use the Spark mlib because we could not really do the churn prediction or apply machine learning in R, right? So the answer is, if you're dealing with the small data, yes, and if you're dealing with the large data, which most of the time you will do, you need to really learn the Spark, right? But to start a job, of course, no. Later on you can pick it up, right? Sir, I am working as a Lotus Notes administrator, looking for a career shift into data science, no knowledge on the technology related use in data science. Can I get the knowledge from the basics in PGP? Yes. So you will get a lot of deep knowledge into this through this program. All these skills which I was talking about, not only the deep knowledge, you will build the products. So in last batches, our student has built products which is recommender system. They have built, so there is a group, they have built one beautiful product, and this product is about generating the story out of an image. So you take a selfie just sitting behind a lake, and this is a picture, and you upload this picture on this web hosted, this is hosted on AWS, right? We deployed on AWS, and you upload your picture, and then not only it will recognize the objects, it will also say, it will recognize there is a man, there is a lake, there is a dog, okay, and then if you say okay, generate a romantic story, so it will generate a romantic story half a page. Now the whole group of 3 people, those who built this, they were picked up on the 0 day, right? So they were picked up in Factorial, right, Teradata, right? A beautiful product. One team built a product of automated authentication based on face, right? One girl built a product of smart vision, wherein it is typically used for missing person when you have to really go through the footage. Actually, she lost her cousin, and she has undergone this trauma, right, wherein their family need to really actually manually scan through the video footage to find to do the investigation. So she built this smart vision wherein you have the missing person photograph and you have a CCTV footage. You put this photograph on one side in the video, and then it will give you the timestamp frames where this person was found. Beautiful applications, right? So not only you gain the knowledge, we force you to build the products, not only the models, right? Okay. So you don't have to actually have the knowledge about these fields. Knowledge can be acquired. The only thing, you should be willing to really learn. You should be willing to really do hard work. Hemant, what is the feature of artificial intelligence security in cyber security? So let's understand, Hemant, most of the attacks today, Sudarshan, after me, Riten Joshi is going to give a presentation. He will talk more about the PGP and how you can really apply, right? Just wait for a 5 minutes. In the next 5 minutes, I am finishing my session. So Hemant, most of the attacks today are not done by the human being. They are led by machines. So when machine is doing the attacks, a human being cannot really prevent and protect you or machines from the attacks led by the machines. So you need to actually train machines to identify those threats, find the patterns, and that's where the machine learning is coming into the picture. That's where the AI is coming into the picture. So even the softwares which are protecting your system through the cyber warfare or cyber attacks, they need to be smart and intelligent enough. And that's where we have collaborated with IBM, and we are using, so IBM has a tool called QRadar, which has got a lot of capability of Watson, which is the human-like capability, right? And in our cyber security program, we have put a lot of machine learning, AI, and cognitive part, right? So AI and machine learning, deep learning is playing a major role in modern cyber security. Okay, so another way, so one way of launching your career into this, pick up the short certification courses. There are tons of platforms, Udemy, Coursera, edX, right? You can go on musrt.mobi, you can pick up a lot of short certification courses, aegis.edu, coursera.org, then you can really go on YouTube, tons of resources are available. Good part is they are low cost, good part is they are free most of. The downside is drop rate out is almost 98%. The third is if you have a question you cannot really ask, right? You have to really put on the forum, wait for that. Third, you need to really have a lot of self-discipline, right? Fourth, sometime when you really go through the short certification courses, the instructor gives overemphasis on one topic. So they say, okay, if they're teaching R, they will say the whole world is around R, right? So I have even seen some advertisement wherein they even claim that you do the Hadoop and you will become the data scientist. We have roughly right around 5% candidates, those who have already come from the data engineering side. So one of the student was managing 1000 node Hadoop cluster for the Expedia, joined the program because he realized Hadoop has nothing to do with data science. It's just data engineering, right? So you actually get a lot of bias views about that, but this is a good place to actually start, right? But at the end of the day, no recruiter is going to hire you that you know R or a Python or Hadoop or Spark or machine learning or deep learning. Today, though the number of jobs available, the way but recruiters hire, they ask you, okay, open your laptop and show me what project you have done and run me through the code. Why you have used decision tree, if you use neural network, what and why you use neural network, why you use CNN, right? So they will ask you a lot of tough questions, they will go through your code, they will go through your product. So you need to have a project portfolio to convince the recruiter. They are not interested in storytellers. The other way of starting your career is basically go for the higher education. Those who want to go for the higher education, I can recommend you a couple of universities. One university is NYU, New York University. They offer MS in data science, one of the good programs. The another one is Berkeley, where this Spark was invented in 2012. They also have very good program, MS in data science. Then we have a program called PGP in business analytics big data, which is in association with IBM. One of the best programs today available in Asia, right? The curriculum is most exhaustive. It's a 360-degree exposure. And another advice that if your father is having a lot of black money still left after say demonetization, and if your brain doesn't function, you want to do suicide, my advice is go and do the MBA in business analytics or PGDBM, because these are basically very say poor derivatives of MBA, wherein 90% of the curriculum is again MBA and 10% for the sake of analytics they will teach you R or Tableau, right? And this will not qualify you to even become a salesman, believe me. I have interacted with over 150 recruiters in last 3-4 years, and not a single company has come and asked me, Bhupesh, we want a guy who knows HR analytics or marketing analytics or web analytics, right, or operations analytics. What they are looking for, that we want people, those who know depth of the machine learning, deep learning, R, Python, Spark, right, and they have done some product or project. They don't want storytellers, right? So if you have to really go and identify a course, my recommendation is go and refer whether this is largely a technical program or not, right? Or else you better do a plain MBA, right? And in our program, there are roughly around 20% MBA guys are joining, because they also realize that just by reading the Flipkart Learn, they can't really do the marketing. And let me give you the example. So today, in companies like Flipkart or Amazon, what is the job of a marketeer? Marketeer's job is to go and advise which product need to be sold at what price, where, how much discount you need to really give. This is the job of marketeer, and you become marketeer after doing an MBA in marketing. Now today, this job is being done by the data scientist, because data scientist is having the data. He precisely knows which product is selling, right? What people are buying, what they are not buying. Based on the data, he is able to really tell how much discount you need to really offer and which locations you need to really launch this product. So today, we are seeing a major trend coming where in MBAs, after doing 2, 3 years, 4 years job, they are coming back, because whether you do MBA or MSc operations or MS in operations research or MSc in statistics, your job is to advise companies to take the decision based on the data. Right? No more today you can really go, look, I have a gray hair, I have 25 years experience, whatever I'll say, it will be right. No, these are bullshit, nobody takes it, right? So you have to really substantiate it with data. Okay? Let's go further. So, can you name some short certification courses that should be taken with a data science? There are tons of the courses, short certification courses, but you can really start with R or statistics and then machine learning. Short certification courses are dangerous courses because you can't really acquire these complex skills in a week's time or a month's time. It is very difficult, right? We have seen roughly around 30% of our students, they have already done some short certification courses, 3-month courses. I will not name those institutions, and they have just learned the basic foundation level, and no recruiter will actually hire them, right? Because you don't gain those skills. 95% of our students in full time has already done some or other courses on Coursera, edX or these places. They just simply know the definition level, but they have not been able to really build any kind of product or projects, and that's what the recruiters are looking for. But if you know Python and other stuff, you can apply for the internship to our place, and you can be part of lot of projects, and that is how you will, that will enable you to really show to the employer that yes, you have worked on some products or projects. Those who already know ML and other stuff, you can really join as a research scholar, will suck your blood for 2 years and will make you a man, right? This is the program. This, okay. Any question, guys? Okay, so if you have any questions, I can take 1 or 2 questions, and then I will hand over to Ritin Joshi. Yes, use mic. Mic is on? Yeah. Huh. Yeah, go ahead.
I read an article saying that there are a lot of algorithms in machine learning. So he was talking that he wasted time understanding how those algorithm works.
Okay.
And he was giving advice that you don't waste time, you just see how this works and where you can use it.
Okay, wonderful advice. So he must be an American, right? So let's understand there are 2 ways of approach, right? One is a guy who does the mechanical engineering, and there is a technician who is repairing. And perhaps in most probable scenarios, a mechanic must be making more money than a mechanical engineer. I would call a pseudo mechanical engineer because he has not studied, right? So he is not even capable of the technician, right? A technician don't understand how the engine works, right? Or how it is being designed. He knows how to repair it. He makes money. That's a crude analogy, right? But in this scenario, if you don't know, so you can really start this journey, right? And a lot of people will not care how it is working. You just simply build the application, and that's how the Indian software industry works. You will be able to really survive few months or maybe a year or 2. And then a smart gentleman comes who has done MSc statistics or understanding, deeper understanding, and he comes, he will replace you. Because you will be, whatever the analysis you will be doing, you will be doing this analysis for some businessman. Most of the businessmen, they have intuition for mathematics. So today you build an algorithm, you build a model, and you come, so for example you are working for Blackstone, and Blackstone want to really, so Blackstone want to buy equity in Hiranandani Gardens, right, which is a builder, and they have hired JP Morgans to really advise. And now from JP Morgans you go and advise Blackstone that okay, you should not invest because my deep learning algorithm is saying that the kind of pricing is they are asking. Blackstone guy will thrash you. They will say, okay gentlemen, my nerd data scientist, senior data scientist, can you really explain me why your model is saying that? Then you are stuck because you don't know, because it's a black box. You can't really explain why it is happening, right? Even if you don't know the linear regression, you might have used linear regression, right? But you actually even don't know what is linear equation. Why you need to really know the linear equation? How many of you online guys know the linear equation? Maybe very few. That's the case. But if you don't know the math behind that, I am not even talking about the machine learning, I am saying that you have to go further to understand the math. not only the algorithm. Because, for example, if you have to really travel from Mumbai to Delhi, what are the different ways? You can walk, you can ride on a donkey, you can take a horse, you can take a train, you can take a bus, you can take a flight, you can take a chartered plane, you can take a ATR, you can take a Boeing Jumbo, multiple ways. But depending on the urgency, right, how far you have to reach, depending on the budget, depending on the need, you will take those models. But you also need to really understand, right? So basically the algorithm, behind any algorithm, the power is mathematics. So you need to understand the engine. I'm not saying that you have to really go further deeper, you have to really redesign some new algorithm, but you need to really understand that. So whoever has given the advice, he is constrained with his own intellect, right? Because most of us, we want to really take the shortcut, which is fair enough. But that kind of decision even machines can really take. So there is a company, Data Robot, which does that job. Why I will hire you? I don't need you. Because Data Robot will automatically identify which algorithm need to be applied. Why the hell I will hire you? Right? You get my answer? You want easy cut, take this. After 6 months, a year, again you will end up in the same place. Okay. So Sudarshan, as a fresher with no job and aspirant of data scientist, is there really scope? Yes, of course. If you have ambition, if you can really work hard, there is a huge scope. We have around roughly 60% freshers, and they end up getting a good job. The minimum salary is roughly around 5.5 lakh rupees. Right? On a higher side is roughly around 15 lakh rupees. Okay, good, fantastic. Thank you guys, thank you so much, right? It was a pleasure talking to you, and wish you good luck for your future, right? Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep your enthusiasm high, right? You have any question, you can write me, right? And now I'm handing over to Ritin Joshi. He will give you a brief idea about our program and how you can really apply. Thank you guys, thank you so much, good luck.
Sure. Okay, very good evening to all of you. So I believe it's still, I can see that individuals are there who are attending this online and the individuals who are here. Okay, so since then, since this evening, we have been exposed to a basic idea that what is data science, what the disruptive technologies are, what is AI, what is deep learning, a kind of 360-degree view you might have got, right? And we have already talked about the initiative we have taken with IBM, the courses that we have given an idea. So I'll just walk you through, I won't take much of your time. So I have been allotted, say, 10-15 minutes, I'll wrap up. Okay, so I'll just walk you through the program we offer with IBM. So with IBM, we have joined hands with IBM, as we have discussed 4 years back, and rolled out Asia's the only program which is a holistic applied data science program, which is a postgraduate program in data science, business analytics, and big data, which we offer jointly in association with IBM. Okay, so I'll be just walking you through with the program, the details, what sort of, so I'll quickly set up the agenda. So there are so many individuals who are asking that they want to upgrade their skills, and individuals are attending here on campus. How to go ahead and how to upgrade their skills. So I'll be quickly mentioning the points, 10 points one should consider, and these points one should have on the checklist before upgrading themselves or before opting any institution. I'll skip about ages, we have already discussed that. We'll talk about the course content, the faculties and the experts delivering the session. We'll talk about the Center of Innovation quickly, like the exposure the participants they will get. We'll talk about the placements that we have got an idea that what sort of placements we have offered till date. We'll also talk about the capstone project, though we have already discussed about the capstone project. I'll be skipping that slide. Also, we'll talk about a quick demo, if time permits, about the M-University platform, which is an end-to-end delivery platform through which we deliver our sessions in the entire, across the country and around the globe. The financial aid and the scholarships, which is very much there for the participants. We'll talk about the M-Uni campus. You guys must be having your Android mobile phones, so you can download that M-Uni campus application. So you can take the entire lectures on the fly, on the go, on your pocket. Delivery models, we'll talk about the different delivery models in which we will deliver this program, and also the admission process quickly. So coming to the 10 points one should consider. So lots of individuals, some of them who are attending the session online, they might have asked that they want to upgrade their skills. They want to join some institutions, right? So there are certain points one should consider. The first one will be the industry alliances. You have to look at the institution you are looking forward to upgrade your skills or you wish to join. You have to look at what kind of associations these institutions they have got. If you're looking forward to upgrade your skills in those disruptive technologies, you have to look at what sort of associations that institution has got. Because this will give you the exposure, right? Another thing with the curriculum. You have to give a close look on the curriculum, what is being delivered. Because this will shape your career, okay? Another thing, I mean, the skills, typically in the curriculum part, the hot skills which are being, which companies are looking forward to. The hottest skills, we have already discussed about that. Faculties. Curriculum plays a very important role, but you have to look at that curriculum, that courses is being delivered by whom? Who is teaching? Who is delivering? You cannot expect a Java faculty, a computer science faculty, or a management faculty, doesn't matter how brilliant these faculties are, they can deliver the session on these disruptive technologies. Meet somebody who has been there, done that, built the models, and who hails from a similar background, the individuals who are the real-time data scientists. When I say data scientists, these are the real-time data scientists who are working with those disruptive technologies, can only do the hand-holding. Another thing will be the live projects and capstone project. Because see, without having the capstone project, the learning will be of no use, right? It's just like you have studied, you have learned how to ride a car, thoroughly studied the books, but you have not practically experienced it. So real-life projects provides the participants a cutting edge, through which the participants, they get their hands dirty with the technology, and through which they will get the entire exposure on how these technologies is being used and the correlation between the techniques and the tools. One has to look at that point. Another point will be the internship and placements. If anybody would be spending their time, money and effort, one has to look at whether the institution is providing any kind of real-life projects, I mean the internship and placement assistance or not. Another point will be the learning management system. Like today, that session you might have gone through, we have given a kind of 10,000 feet view about the technology. Right? So you may be able to digest some of the terminologies, but if suppose somebody would be getting deeper into the technology, one has to have a system where you can revive the entire session. So here comes the use of learning management system. So whatever lecture is being delivered, whether it is available so that you can brush up that session, revise it, review it at any point of time, on the fly, on the go. So learning management system plays a big role. You have to look at whether the institution is providing any kind of that system or not. Labs, very much required, which is required to work upon these real life projects. And you have to look at whether the institution have providing the access for the virtual labs as well. Suppose if you are not available in the campus, you have to have the access so you can work upon the projects anytime at any place, right? Delivery models. You have to look at whether the institution is providing the delivery patterns as per your learning curve and the feasibility. If suppose somebody is working, wants to upgrade his or her skills, you have to look at whether the institution is providing any kind of the different delivery models or not. The part-time courses, the executive models, or the full-time. Another thing, location plays an important role. You cannot expect such programs which is being delivered on those technologies in which we are covering the disruptive technologies if I talk about, any institution who is offering such programs, the areas like Jharkhand or Bihar, there is no exposure. You have to look at the locations like Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, where there is a scope, Gurgaon, Hyderabad. Another thing would be the financial aid. You have to look at whether the institution is providing any kind of loan assistance or not in terms of the fee payment. And also the scholarships part, what I have, I'll be covering up that part, whether the institution is providing any kind of scholarships and what kind of. Okay, I'll be skipping that slide, we have already covered that. Okay, so we have been recognized by IBM itself for building the capacities in the areas of analytics and data science for the working professional and the participants who want to upgrade their skills in that area. Okay, Dr. Uzma Fayad, he was one of the chief keynote speaker in our Data Science Congress. He is the first chief data science officer titled ever, and the CEO of Open Insight. He himself marked the Aegis program as a very good program, and the company also, they have hired data scientists from our institution. IBM Analytics Labs. So these are the labs what IBM, we have set up in collaboration with IBM Business Analytics, Cloud Computing and Cybersecurity Lab. That was unveiled by Ms. Melita Mayer. She is the Director, Enterprise Licensing and Software working with IBM, which participants will provide the access for the participants as well. This is the sample certification participants they will get once they're done with the program. Also, we join hands with IBM, we have already discussed. So IBM experts, they come and they deliver the session on deep learning and AI. You might be aware about NVIDIA. They are brilliant and the leaders in data, deep learning and AI. Their experts will come and they will deliver the entire hands-on on these techniques like AI and deep learning, which is a part of the core course. Another certification will be offered by NVIDIA and Aegis itself. Course curriculum, right? So I'll be just walking you through what we are delivering. So when it comes to the course curriculum, we have designed the curriculum as per the skills and competency metrics, the skills and the competencies which is required by the data scientists, and we have taken the inputs from the real-time data scientists working around the globe. They have given the inputs, and we have designed the curriculum as per the industry need and the demand. So the curriculum we have is a composite of core courses and elective. In the core courses, I'll just walk you through. We start the program with the basic vital element of any analytics program, which is statistics and probability, which we have already discussed. Parallelly, we'll be going ahead with the advanced statistics. R, Python is very much there, machine learning, different types of machine learning, like machine learning using R, machine learning using Python, machine learning using TensorFlow, machine learning using Spark MLIF. Natural language processing is a very core part of the course. Also, I have discussed NVIDIA has joined hands with us, so deep learning and AI is a part of the course for which NVIDIA experts they come and they deliver the entire hands-on. We have also included Hadoop is there very much, is a part of the core course. Spark is very much there, which we have discussed already. Now, since we offer this program with IBM, there are certain IBM specific tools and the courses that is widely being used by, these are the platforms and the tools you would say, widely being used by the industries. So for which IBM experts they come and they will deliver the entire sessions on that. So I'll just quickly walk you through with it. So like Cognos BI, Infosphere, Big Insight, IBM SPSS, Cognitive Computing by IBM. So these are the tools which will be delivered by the IBM experts, and they will come and they do the entire hand-holding for the participants. There are electives as well. There are a bunch of electives available which participants they can choose as per their area of interest. Now one can choose 4 or maximum 5 electives like SCS is there, W is there, which is more of a glorified Excel sheet, but which is being used by the industries. It's a visualization tool. ClickSense is there, ClickView is there, Microsoft or Azure is a part of the elective. If somebody wants to get more deeper into the deep learning, neural network is there, one can choose neural networks, then financial analytics, risk analytics, consumer analytics, and there are a bunch of electives available. So since we know the world better, we do the hand holding for the participants, right, that which tool will be beneficial for them. So the project mentors, the experts, the faculties, they provide the participants with the details of which tool or course will be beneficial for them. So I have already discussed about the elective courses. Moving on, I have already talked about the IBM experts, the IBM specific tools that will be delivered by the IBM experts. I have already talked about. Here are a few of the IBM experts I'll just mention, like Arnav Adhikari, he is the Advanced Analytics Solution Architect working with IBM. Sharmila Dash, she is a strategy management consultant, and she takes care of the social analytics practice working with IBM. She takes care of Infosphere, Big Insight, and social media analytics at Aegis. Then we have Hrishikesh Pathak, he is a data scientist working with IBM. There are many other. Dinesh Diman, he is a subject matter expert and takes care of the IBM specific tools what we have discussed. Few faculties and mentors. So the entire program will be delivered by the experts, as I said, who hail from the same industry, right? Almost 70% of them, they are the industry experts who are working with those technologies, and the in-house faculties were also the PhD holders in this respective domain. I'll just walk you through. Dr. Vinay Kulkarni, he is the director of Aegis, and he also takes care of the statistics and probability and also Hadoop and Apache Spark at Aegis. He is a PhD in computer aided manufacturing from IIT Bombay. He holds dual degree from IIT Bombay itself. We have Dr. Abhijit Gangopadhyay. He is the Dean of Aegis. Also, he is the founder and founder of IIM Indore, also the founding director and the Dean of TIS. You might have heard about that institution, Tata Institute of Social Science. He takes care of the HR analytics and also the critical thinking. Dr. Mudalati, he is the faculty for statistics. He is being awarded as a best professor in the entire Asia Pacific for operation management and statistics. Dr. Nilesh, he is the faculty for machine learning at Aegis. He holds a dual degree from IIT Bombay itself and done his PhD from the Montfort University. Aurobindo Sharkar, he is the Hadoop expert. Dr. Also, moving on to the next slide. It's not working. Okay. Yeah, fine. Okay, we have Dr. Suresh. He is the faculty for Python programming and also the natural language processing and deep learning as well. He take care of. We have Mukundan Srinivasan. He is a solution architect working with NVIDIA itself, take care of the deep learning. Dr. Sudha, she is the faculty for natural language processing at Aegis Institute of Data Science. She holds a PhD in NLP from IIT Bombay. Dr. Samshuddin, he is the adjunct professor for machine learning at Aegis. He holds the PhD in computer science from IIT Bombay and Monash University. Also, he is an MS in computer science from Loyola University. Dr. Ramesh, he is the faculty for statistics. Moving on. Okay, Dr. Elijah, he is a Russian data scientist, faculty for information retrieval and natural language processing. Dr. Srinivas Palasan, he is an adjunct professor for data science. He takes care of the data mining and also the deep learning as well. Earlier, he was working as a research scientist with Harvard University. Cyrus Linton, he has more than 25 years of experience. He is the faculty for visualization at Aegis. Then Mr. Bhupesh Dahiria, he also mentored the participants and takes care of the subject called used cases of big data. Okay, Dr. Abbas Raza Ali, he is a data scientist working with IBM, takes care of the foundation of data science. He himself has got around 25 patents registered in his own name. Then we have Mukesh Jain, faculty for business analytics. He is the CTO of EFS Global. Dr. Tatiana, she is a Ukrainian data scientist, takes care of the Spark part. Igor, he is again a faculty for Apache Spark. And so these are the faculties who will be doing the hand holding for the participants. Also, like we have mentioned earlier, we have a couple of months back, we have announced another program, which is a PGP, an applied AI, machine learning and deep learning in association with IBM. Another program we offer. Quickly, I'll just give you the highlights of this program as well. So, participants, they will get the access to NVIDIA proprietary technologies and the software in the labs who will be doing that program. Extensive training by the NVIDIA experts, the subject matter experts, they come, and also the IBM experts and the industry experts will be delivering the entire hands-on to the participants. It's a complete applied AI and ML and deep learning program in which this program will cover the fundamental tenets of the deep learning, and also we provide the entire infrastructure and we force the participants and provide the participants so that they can come up with some products, right, based out of these technologies like self-driving car, object detection, chatbots, and applying these to determine the best approaches to detect the cancer detection, natural language processing, and speech recognition kind of stuff. Also, participants, they will get the access to AWS dedicated education material on AI, deep learning and machine learning, and also they will have the access for AWS cloud for developing the applications like chatbots, recommender systems, image recognition systems, etc. Next slide. Okay, so this is the sample certification participants they will get after completion of that particular program. Also, they will also get one additional certification from NVIDIA that we have already talked about. Course curriculum. That courses also includes the composite of both the core courses and the electives. In the core courses, deep learning with TensorFlow, cognitive computing by IBM as a part of the core course, robotics, computer vision, speech recognition, math foundation for AI, which is a part of the core course, natural language processing, Python, your practical machine learning as well. Then there are electives, Scala, QuickSense, IBM Watson for cognitive, cybersecurity, machine learning with Microsoft Azure. Then we have machine learning using scikit-learn, graph database as a part of the elective, deep learning with TensorFlow, many other. So one can choose again 4 or 5 elective as I have discussed. So the experts, the project mentor, they will do the hand holding for the participants, but which course and tool would be beneficial for the participants. Okay. Some more electives like neural networks, big data with Apache Spark, W is there, Internet of IoT is there. So that comes under the elective part. Okay, R language is also there, Hadoop, pattern recognition. These are the part of electives which one can choose. Okay. Center of Innovation already we have discussed. We have curated Asia for the largest event, that is a Data Science Congress. So participants who enroll for the course, who are pursuing the program, they will get the benefit that they will have the interaction with those individuals who are the pioneer in the data science domain. So that is a 4-day event, the conference we host, in which we invite the CIO, the CTO, the real-time data scientists, the cognitive computing experts around the globe. And they will share the best practices and the knowledge which is being practiced in those areas. And there are multiple tracks, keynote speeches. We invite the companies who come and deliver the entire the product demonstration, what kind of technology they have been used and what kind of innovative solutions they have come up with. Also, we invite the research paper around the globe. Participants, they come up with the research paper, they present. So it's an entire platform through which the participants, they will get one-on-one interaction with the experts and they enhance their knowledge. Next slide. Okay. Another Center of Innovation, we have initiated Aegis Randall Award, which we already discussed, which is again Asia's one of the largest event what we host, in which we do reward the innovation which are coming up in 2 areas, time and SMAC series, telecommunication, internet, media and entertainment sector. So we reward the innovations which are coming from the large scale organization, small scale, and the startup companies. This year we have also, though we offer this program with IBM, we have also awarded IBM as well for the innovation they have come up with, and many other segments. You just go to the website, you will get an idea. Okay, we keep on conducting certain hackathons, workshops, big data leadership series, in which we do invite again the real-time data scientists, the CIOs, again the CTOs, who are working with the technology, and the participants, they will get a platform to interact with those giants of the technology. So these folks, they will let the fire in the belly of the participants if somebody wants to start something of their own, and they will provide the career graph as well, the path as well. Okay, the Career Management Center, we have already talked about, so plays a major role. So the Aegis, we have a dedicated Career Management Center who facilitates the participants in terms of providing them with the assistance for the internship, and that will be the paid internship we provide, and the final placements. We have already talked about these slides. So last batch we have close to 54 candidates. For them 45 plus or 50 plus companies, they have come to observe the candidates. Minimum package what companies have offered, that is 5.5, maximum that goes up to 15 for the freshers I'm talking about. So these are a few of the companies we have already talked about. The IBM, since we offer this program with IBM, Nielsen, Deloitte, Fractal Analytics, which is a big name in data science domain, Cadel AI, L&T Infotech, Accenture, Suzlon, even Mercedes and Ford, they have observed the candidates, Deloitte, EY, and many other, right? So these are the records that I have discussed. So education backgrounds, somebody would have asked from the online participants what sort of participants are coming up and joining the courses. So anybody hails from a different background, say participants who are from the commerce background, management background, BTech who have done, anybody who has studied mathematics, right? So somebody would have some logical reasoning capabilities or analytical reasoning capabilities, and above all the passion. So is very much eligible for the for this program, and they hail from different backgrounds, as you can see the graph I have put. Okay, we already talked about the Capstone project, which is a major USP of the program, through which the participants, they get their hands dirty with the technology and they become industry ready. So we train the participants, as I said, the program is a complete applied AI program in which we force the participants to create a product, not a project, right? And seeing is believing. So we prepare the participants in such a way that they shouldn't have to run after the companies they are running after the participants. And you have seen the results, the statistics I have shown you. We already talked about the projects, so I'm skipping that slide. Capstone project also, so these are the live projects, what we do provide to the participants. Capstone project, in which participants, they come up with an idea to work upon, and brilliant projects participants they have done. Like the recommender system we have talked about, they have done. A beautiful storytelling, right? You put up images, that's what we have discussed in the last session. Prediction in the flight delay they have come up with, Bitcoin price prediction, interactive stock guide, and many other projects. So these products are again helping the participants to get the entire exposure, and they will get the entire holistic approach, the entire hands-on exposure, how to work on which tool, and there is a correlation through which they get the entire exposure. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Learning management system, the ME University. So at Aegis we use the world-class learning management system, which is a cloud platform we have. It's an end-to-end delivery platform. What are the benefits? Here are the benefits. Participants, they will have the access to tons of the recorded session, the repository of the sessions, the e-books, the journals, the reference material. They will have the access, which they can access on the fly, on the go. Access to overall performance of the participant. They can check their attendance, their grade, and also it has got the system, AI-built system. If somebody is not performing well in the statistics, it will flash a red alert that you won't be able to perform well in R because there is a correlation, right? So that kind of system we have built. Also, it's provide the flexibility to upload the assignments, quizzes, anytime on the fly, on the go. You can do that. LMS, these analytics can be used by the faculties and the participants to perform, to help their improvement, and so that the participant, they will get the faculties, they also get an idea where a participant they are going down, so they can help, and it will enhance the performance of the individual and the participants. Okay, live lecture I have clicked, but okay, I'll just walk you through. I have made the screenshot as well. So this is how the LMS looks like. This is how Dr. Vinay Kulkarni is taking the session on Hadoop. So this is how the session looks like. Another slide. Okay, he's Sarah Slinton taking sessions on data visualization. Okay, so he is Tejas Sanvi. He is from Fractal. He is taking care of use case of machine learning techniques to solve the business problems. This is how the LMS system actually works. Also, now coming to the scholarship and financial aid. So if anybody would be looking forward to enroll the program, there are certain scholarships. First scholarship is a Dean Scholarship for Women in Technology Leadership, in which we invite the application from the women participants. So if anybody would have tremendous academic records, if somebody is working as an aspiring leader in the respective domain, there are so many parameters on which we do check the participant and we provide them the scholarship if somebody would get fitted into that parameters. Another scholarship we have, which is Aegis Graham Bell Award Scholarship, in which we do invite the applications from the participants who have built some kind of, who have a startup, or maybe who have created a kind of prototype, and if that idea is scalable, commercialized, so we invite the application from such participants. If again, we'll evaluate them, and if we found them good, we provide the scholarship. Another scholarship we have, which is a data science scholarship, for those who wants to make their career into the academics. Anybody who hails from a PhD background, from mathematics, physics, respective area, and wants to join the program, we invite the applications and provide the scholarships. Study loan, we do have the tie-up with various financial institutions. If anybody get done with the process, if anybody is looking forward to apply the program, so financial assistance will be provided to the participants. Okay, now coming to the MUni campus, which is easy to access, on the fly, on the go. If you have the Android mobile phone, you can go to the Play Store, download the application, and you can carry your entire session on your pocket. This is how it will work. So this is how the application looks like. I have just captured the screenshot from my phone. So you will see the courses you have registered for. If you click here, it will show you the kind of courses you have registered for. You can see your events coming up, the schedule, the attendance, the placements, what sort of companies are coming up. You can see the live lectures as well if any sessions are happening live. This kind of UI that application has got. Okay, suppose for an example, if you're done with the statistics and probability session, and if you want to revive that session, you don't want to open your laptop, you just open the application. Click on that particular course, you will see the entire overview of the course, what is being delivered, the entire course curriculum, the content. And you will see the instructors, Dr. Vinay Kulkarni and Dr. Ramesh, you will see the profile, and also you will get the video links. If you click on that link, though, it's a classroom training session where participants, they get done. But if they want to revive that session, if anybody wants to review that session, watch that session again, click on that particular button, the play button, and your video will start playing. So it's a vertical mode. If you just put your phone in the landscape, so you will have a bigger view. Right? This is how you can carry the entire session. Okay, now coming to the delivery models, quickly I'll just walk you through. So there are different delivery models. So first model we have, which is a full-time program. So the duration of the program will be 11 months, in which the classes will be held 6 days a week. So once the session gets done, we provide 2 to 3 months of internship, and that internship will be a paid internship in which participants, they will get this stipend, and followed by the final placements. Total credit structure will be 45 credit unit. We follow the Northern American credit structure system. Any program, just for information I can tell you, any program which is above than 36 credit unit is considered as a master's program. So this program is also equivalent to MS, that's what we have mentioned earlier. Courses 30 credit unit, elective would be 15. Commencement date, full-time program for the data science program, the applied data science program is commencing from 18th September, and the AI program is commencing from 17th August. Okay, the deadline for the application is 25th of this month. So if anybody would be looking forward to apply, they have to, I'll walk you through the process, how to go ahead and apply for the course. Weekend classroom, anybody, it's an executive model, executive postgraduate program in data science, business analytics and big data. So anybody who will be having some minimum 2 years of experience, which is required in order to apply or enroll for these executive models. So the duration will be again 11 months. The classes will be held Saturday and Sunday. Timings will be again, it's a full day session, 10 to 5, 10 to 6. And that is followed by 2 months of capstone project. Because if somebody is working, your company won't allow you to go out and do the internships. Right? So there will be capstone project, but yes, career assistance will be very much there. For that we have a career management center who provide the assistance for the career assistance that will be provided by the career management center. Entire the program structure will be 45 credit unit. Commencement date, Mumbai, we are starting the batch from 20th October, and the AI program we are commencing in Mumbai, which is a weekend classroom one, 18th August. Pune, 21st October, 25th August, we are conducting the AI program. Bangalore, we are conducting 14th October, the participants who are attending online. And the AI program, we are commencing from 1st September. Weekend online live interactive, where we don't have any presence. So it's an online live interactive model. Classes will be held on Saturday, Sunday, and it's a completely online live interactive model. We use our very own portal that is called M University for delivering that session. The duration will be again same, 11 months. Saturday, Sunday classes will be held online live interactive, timing 10 to 5, 10 to 6. Also it includes 2 to 3 months of capstone project, and also the career assistance as well. Program units will be 45 credit unit. Commencement date 20th October for the data science program, and 18th August for the AI program, what we have discussed. Admission process, quickly I'll walk you through. If you are looking forward to it, you have to fill the online application. Once we receive the application, an interview would be scheduled. For online live interactive program, it will be a Skype interview. Else, it will be a personal line of interview. In any case, anybody get through and shortlisted, we extend the admission offer on the very same day. This is how the entire, it's not working. Okay, so if you want to get more updates, subscribe yourself at datasciencegyan.com and keep updated yourself. This is me, Ratan Joshi. So the online participant, they can also jot down the coordinates, and also my colleagues' number I have also mentioned, Manish and Yashashri. If you have any specific queries, please jot down the numbers. If you have any further queries, you can write down to us. You can visit us, aegis.edu.in. You can visit us, muniversity.mobi/aegis. Also, you can write us at admissions@aegis.edu.in. Jot down our number. If you have any further queries, we will be happy to assist you for the same. Anybody would have any questions, online participants? Or who are attending here in the classroom. Do you have any questions? Okay. Anybody would have any questions, the participants who are attending online? Okay, somebody would have asked, just a second. What is the placement criteria? We have already talked about, I believe Hemant is asking, Sudarshan is asking what will be the estimated cost for the course, how to apply. How to apply, Sudarshan, if you are following me, we have already covered that part. Freshers can apply very much, for full-time program very much. In the full-time program, typically when it comes to batch size, that will be 60 candidates per batch. And typically in every batch we have seen, in the full-time program as well, the participants who join us will be having, say, 0 means a fresher guy till the individuals who have got, say, up to 18 years of experience. Eligibility criteria, we have already talked about Brahma, that anybody who hails from the economics background, commerce background, who have studied mathematics, BTech graduate, management graduate, anybody can apply. Okay, the cost for the program full time, it's 6.75 lakhs. For executive weekend, it will be, for Mumbai weekend classroom, it's 4.5 lakhs. For online, it's 2.75 lakhs. So go through the mobile muniversity.mobi, you will get the entire details for the fee and everything. And if you have any specific queries, you can reach out to us. Do you have any further queries? Anybody who are attending us online? Or else we'll wrap up the session. Do you have any queries, guys, who are attending here? No? All right, brilliant. It was really pleasure talking to you guys, and wish you a very great success. And if anybody would be looking forward to have any further communication with us, please, you can feel free to call us, contact us. We'll be very happy to assist you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So you guys are working? Refresher.